The majestic star panther head Lin Chang's fame for fighting prowess was truly exceptional. When everyone saw Lin Yingmei's Arctic Star Spear, their expressions all seemed to have been produced by a factory. Besides shock, they also felt inconceivability towards Su Xing. By the time Lin Yingmei's cold grunt ended, she had already executed her assault, immediately sending dust flying. It was already too late to let them be astonished, for the majestic star was acting. For the sake of fighting for time for Shi Qian, Lin Yingmei also did not want to speak nonsense. Using the fiercest assault to interrupt their pondering was the best solution. During a moment when they have not regained their senses quickly, it was only natural that if there was an opportunity to get rid of an opponent, that was not a bad thing. The retreating star Tong Meng's reactions were exceedingly quick, disappearing from where she was. From within the air flashed an acute light. The Arctic Star Spear and the Jade Water Trident already collided together, unexpectedly stopping Lin Yingmei's quick and violent attack. The water light and cold qi became one. The river-churning clam Tong Yao did not train fruitlessly at the blooming water sword sect sword training courtyard. Not only was she able to block this attack, the girl suddenly chuckled. She exhibited high speed, calmly and swiftly counter-attacking like a violent tide. The Jade Water Trident's technique of attack was overwhelming. Lin Yingmei dexterously received it, her spear just like a shield. The girl's brow raised, stepping around where she was, and with a great leap into the air, making an aerial slash, and at the same time, exerted her entire body's star energy. That speed was how fast. How time flies, fleeting. Resounding words. The sharp and clear cries of metal meeting made people's hearts sink. Tong Yao blocked Lin Yingmei's surprise slash with great difficulty. The Arctic Star Spear's formidable power shook from its body directly to her hand. You deserve respect. Lin Yingmei rarely showed recognition, perhaps, like Su Xing, she also admired the river-churning clam Tong Yao's effortful practice at the sword training courtyard. At the moment, this was still Tong Yao's already exhausted state. Tong Yao coldly smiled. She did not need this kind of respect that was earned only when she was weak. The river-churning clam suddenly retreated backward, and then with a step, actually identically leapt into the air and made an aerial cut. Lin Yingmei accepted it without question, Tong Yao's attacks again and again bullying her. The majestic star clutched her spear with a single hand, turning her hand over, and easily returning it back. The spear tip seemed to be tearing open a line as Lin Yingmei's offensive timing increased, and Tong Yao repeatedly retreated. While Lin Yingmei fought for time, Su Xing was not idle. In fact, at the time the panther head took action, he simultaneously acted to handle Qin Zhonglin. Star Masters duels often were just like this, Star General with Star General, Contractor with Contractor, and among this could they reveal their talent, show their skill and be called matchless. In order to not alarm the rest of the blooming water sword sect, Su Xing also gave up attacking with artifacts, the heavenly river sword directly pointed at them. His unconventional gambit, however, was broken up by the true qi protecting Qin Zhonglin. After all, he was blooming water sword sect disciple, which was far more brilliant compared to an inferior organization such as the Thousand Machine Gang. Qin Zhonglin put two fingers together, and a blue flying sword flew out in the blink of an eye. Then, under the control of his divine intent, the sword turned into fierce water and shot forth. Su Xing leaned back, the pure gold shield suddenly increasing in size many times and positioned itself in front of him. Water Transformation Sword Art 2. Qin Zhonglin struck several seals, and the sword water abruptly became dense, changing into a dozen water blades. The pure gold shield revolved around Su Xing's body, looking like an impenetrable defense tightly wrapped around him. The water sword violently struck upon the pure gold shield's surface, but aside from sending droplets of pearls and jade splashing about, it lacked the strength to break through. Qin Zhonglin was not slighted at all, and he continued to urge the sword art onward. The dozen water blades rotated quickly in the air above, condensing into a torrential downpour that directly hacked downwards towards Su Xing. The pure gold shield could stop an attack on the whole body, but it had no way of stopping even a peep from above. This was the first time Su Xing experienced the sword arts that enjoyed much fame in Liangshan continent. Immediately, he threw out a small object, and that object swelled many tens of sizes when it left his bag. Propping it open, it blocked above Su Xing. This happened to be that high-grade nebula stage artifact, Heaven Concealing Parasol. The water transformation sword art being blocked by the parasol was considered to have made Qin Zhonglin surprised for a bit. The gale upon his face transformed into thunder and lightning. Su Xing took advantage of the gap in Qin Zhonglin's control over the transforming water sword art. With a single bound, he swiftly moved like a snake seemingly spitting poison and venom, the silver blade in his hand coldly flashed suddenly, the flickering astral crest upon his forehead breaking Qin Zhonglin's protective true qi, and the sword tip erasing his neck. Qin Zhonglin was overwhelmed with shock, but just at the moment silver blade brushed past his neck, Qin Zhonglin's body transformed into a pile of water flowers, having used a water escape to avoid a disaster. Su Xing went blank, and without hesitation, raised the gun, took aim, and pulled the trigger. SFX, Ka. 3. A muted sound. The Qin Zhonglin that happened to appear at that position thought Su Xing was about to use some other damnable trick, recalling the transforming water sword to block his front. Su Xing seized the opportunity to move forwards and rush over. Su Xing's about-face staggered Qin Zhonglin's defenses, and a cold light streaked across his stomach. Damn it! Faint traces of blood appeared. Qin Zhonglin did not expect the star cultivator before his eyes to close the distance again and again. If this bastard was not destitute that he would not have any sort of powerful artifact, sword art or sage art, then he certainly believed in his own military force too much. If it was not for him expending too much star energy at the sword training courtyard earlier, his present state would simply not necessarily be this sorry. A rumbling explosion. The blooming water hall suddenly shook thunderously, and the light of the pearls suspended on the hall instantly dimmed. Not good, the calamitous thunder evil smiting array has been broken. Qin Zhonglin shouted in horror. They have an accomplice. These words had only just dropped when the completely clothed in black thief Star Shi Qian dodged out of the blooming water hall. Young master, item is in hand. Let's go quickly. Shi Yuan yelled. Although Su Xing and Lin Yingmei occupied the maximum possible advantage at this moment, even if they used up just a bit more time, they could settle their troubles in one fell swoop by means of profiting from their counterparts squandering the majority of their star energy at the sword training courtyard. However, there already was not any, just a bit, of time that they could waste. After the calamitous thunder evil smiting array was broken, the entire blooming water sect was already alerted. The sect protection great array already was starting to activate, and staying any longer was certain death without doubt. The wind-swayed raft appeared. Su Xing's final sword pushed aside Qin Zhonglin, and he spat out several rock-piercing thunder water droplets. Qin Zhonglin gave a shrill, blood-curdling screech. Lin Yingmei nodded, her spear held horizontally also pushed back the retreating star as she floated and entered the wind-swayed raft. Ascend. The wind-swayed raft rushed into the skies. Thinking of running? Qin Zhonglin twisted, no longer caring as much. A very red gourd flew out in the blink of an eye and chased behind Su Xing. The gourd suddenly shot a red light, and a wide expanse of blood-colored raindrops fired out from the lip of the gourd like a torrential downpour. This was precisely the blood rain pot. Su Xing opened the heaven-concealing parasol and covered it. The blood-colored raindrops were extremely swift and fierce. The power of the long-ranged strikes on the heaven-concealing parasol made Su Xing's divine intent feel maximum stress. Fortunately, the star cultivator himself was in utterly poor condition. Qin Zhonglin vomited a large mouthful of blood, and the blood rain pot's light faded, dropping back into his astral bag. Senior brother. Senior brother Zhonglin. What happened? The other blooming water sect disciples rushed over. Seeing the scene of Qin Zhonglin's and his star general's sorry and wounded figures, they were very much flabbergasted. Qin Zhonglin watched the vanishing wind-swayed raft, his face unsightly beyond compare. The wind-swayed raft flew out 100 li in the blink of an eye, and it was just at this time that a translucent light covered the blooming water sect's overboard summit, shrouding it within. With that small of a difference, Su Xing and the others would have become caged birds. However, now was still not the time to rejoice, for biggest danger had just begun. A powerful star energy radiated from behind them as the blooming water sword sect's headmaster, the Taoist Luo River, furiously closed in on them. Su Xing already had the knowledge star manufacture a few disturbances at the bottom of the 5 efficacious heavenly mountains, creating a diversion to draw away the blooming water sword sect's head minister, but Su Xing had still underestimated a galaxy cultivator's abilities. Taoist Luo River raised his flying sword, a soaring light. Although that twinkling could not cover 1,000 li, covering 100 li in the blink of an eye was not a problem at all. If it was not for making Taoist Luo River leave the blooming water sword sect by quite a distance in advance, then it was possible that once the blooming water array activated, Taoist Luo River would have already killed them. Thinking of this, Su Xing seemed to be facing a great enemy. Knowing that he was not able to outrun the Taoist Luo River's escape technique, he glimpsed a thorny and thick forest beneath him. He dodged and hid into the shrubbery below, at the same time activating the 72 Roads Concealing Star technique to hide his presence. Lin Yingmei was also self-aware that she could not leave herself outside, otherwise the opponent's divine intent would easily lock onto her. Hence, she became starlight and entered Su Xing's star nest. The thief star's entire body was also stretched taut. Fortunately, she had the wordless and uncommunicative yellow rank magic. Because of the magic she mobilized as a star general, galaxy cultivators could not necessarily find her. Su Xing originally thought of letting her flee first on her own. He was on the verge of saying so when he choked it back down, for just at this time, a middle-aged man wearing a blue Taoist robe, too, appeared overhead this brambly forest. The one who stopped was exactly the Taoist Luo River. The Taoist Luo River held both hands behind his back, standing straight against the wind, standing on a 3 flying sword with a learned air about him, motionless as a mountain. Several tens of flying swords floated at his side, faintly completing an array. How comical, unexpectedly hiding your abilities before this Taoist. The Taoist Luo River's pair of eyes suddenly shot pure light. Shouting, incomparably tyrannical, almost as if it had substance, divine intent emanated in all directions from his eyes. The more than 3 zhang of trees and rock were successively dashed into tiny pieces and annihilated to smithereens by this divine intent that filled the entire area. This blooming water sword sect headmaster was exceptional, as expected. A radius of almost 10 li had been enshrouded by his surly and abnormal divine intent. Each and every move, every iota, the slightest movement were all transmitted into the Taoist Luo River's mind. Under the strafing of a galaxy late stage's divine intent, the 72 Roads Concealing Star technique unexpectedly was a bit outmatched. Faint star energy dispersed, already having fluctuations. The heart of the Su Xing who examined this situation tightened, not knowing what to do. His star energy's fluctuations were more and more intense, and the 72 Roads Concealing Star technique was already on the verge of collapse, about to dissipate at any moment. In a few more seconds, his body was about to be exposed under the Taoist Luo River's divine intent strafing. Arriving at this critical juncture, Su Xing drew in a long breath, contrarily calming down. He was about to apply that, heart-like mirror's absolute sincerity soul technique, entering the stable heart realm. At this time, how could anyone anticipate the thief star Shi Yuan would be more anxious than Su Xing? In a moment of desperation, regardless of the actual situation, she suddenly leaned forward, and embracing Su Xing in both her arms, she kissed him. The Lin Chong inside the star nest trembled. Su Xing opened both his eyes wide. Hooking onto the girl's tongue, his mind floated away. An exotic fragrance assailed his nostrils, and the wordless and uncommunicative qi hiding art was passed through the tongue and enveloped Su Xing immediately. Each of their presences suddenly disappeared. Both of Su Xing's hands tightened as he shut his eyes and applied the soul technique. Controlling his state of mind, there was somewhat of a mishap. Both he and the thief star could possibly be exposed. Heart still as water, spirit support clear and clean, and willpower deft, his heart was an empty mirror. 5. The spiritual power revolving around Su Xing's surroundings was unable to bear the divine intense attack, at last dispersing in all four directions and escaping. The divine intent swept past Su Xing and the other's hiding spot, yet it found an empty space without a single thing. The Su Xing right now was just inside a sort of profound realm, similar to staying on a bright and empty platform. Green hills and running water, conforming to heaven and earth, and extremely high auspicious red clouds, his body seemed to have become one with heaven and earth. Astonishingly, it was the unattainable path of oneness of heaven and man. 6. Using one's own heart to connect with the heart of heaven and earth. Some practitioners finished their lives without entering this state, and there were cultivators who practiced for several days who, because of one time, realized it was possible. Degree of merit, intensity of star energy, and acquired realms all did not matter purely because this was a sort of indiscernible fate. The advantages and disadvantages of entering the path of oneness of heaven and man were not explained clearly by anyone. Some people appreciated the will of heaven, increasing their merit and advancing their skills. Some people got lost within the boundlessness of the will of heaven, their very spirit assimilated by the will of heaven, ceasing to exist. Fortunately, Su Xing had practiced the heart-like mirror's soul technique. He was very familiar this sort of thing that disturbed the heart. 7. Setting his state of mind, a heart to hold on to his own mind, he did not accept any foreign disturbances, retaining his own consciousness. During this time devoid of life, it seemed everything had been frozen. The unending high mountains were motionless, the mist not dancing, the clear water not flowing, a choking and constraining that would make one feel unable to breathe. The heart calm like water at this sort of time and space fixed the world into something even more unbearably terrifying. The spirit seemed to transform into rotten dust, experiencing 1,000 years of tempering and refining. Su Xing remained unmoved, wholly maintaining that motionlessness, this silence of unmoving. This stationary void seemed to know Su Xing's intentions, rigidly unchanging. It was always this stifling scenario. He did not know how much time passed, like it had been a few centuries, but it was also like a single moment. Su Xing, after all, was only a man. He was far from reaching the indifferent realm of Taoists. Although his will was firm, to be in this kind of environment for a very long time without knowing how to get out, that still like water mental state also rippled, showing a weak point. Su Xing hastily calmed his mind, applying the spirit art. Luckily, Su Xing's determination to pass the chaotic tail escape and heart-like mirrors double tempering and refining once more added to a soldier's endurance that an ordinary person absolutely could not bear. This stillness was like a millennium. Mirror without a stand, look at mountains not as mountains, look at water not as water. An incantation suddenly flashed like an epiphany through Su Xing's mind. Was this not a verse of admonishment from the admonition riddle? Su Xing was enlightened with perfect wisdom, where a flash of light made everything clear. He no longer clung obstinately to his mind, rather, he looked towards the middle of this taciturn mountain and river. During this slowness, under Su Xing's divine intent, this landscape finally began to flow. The empty world all of a sudden brimmed with vitality, coming alive, like peeled-off eggshells, it transformed into countless bizarre symbols, characters twisting like tadpoles, all deeply engraved into Su Xing's mind. That lump of emptiness slowly retreated and scattered, finally disappearing from Su Xing's eyes without a trace. Su Xing could be considered very fortunate. Under Shi Qian's uncommunicative and the heart-like mirrors simultaneous usage, he unexpectedly entered the absolute sincerity soul techniques see mountains not as mountains, second realm. Previously, when he broke through the first realm, Su Xing on more than one occasion thought of entering the second realm, yet all along, he could not attain enlightenment. It seemed this absolute sincerity soul technique needed its origin to work. In the middle of the soul technique, a few refined incantations transmitted into his mind. Unexpectedly, these were several of the heart-like mirror's soul technique's abilities, oneness of heaven and man, 8, mirror without a stand, 9, and empty mountains and rivers. 10, oneness of heaven and man, a type of excellent qi hiding technique. Compared with the thief star Shi Qian's wordless and communicative, it was not at all inferior. Mirror without a stand, set to guard the mind, expelling fantasies and warding off evil spirits, demons and monsters, magic noises and demon technique, none lacking rapid escape. And the empty mountains and rivers, then, was granting and displaying a fantastical landscape to trap the target. However, it required expending enormous amounts of star energy and could not necessarily succeed. If the heart-like mirror's soul technique had originally only been a temperament cultivation soul technique, not seeing Master Mirror's life of cultivating essence, entering the second realm of the absolute sincerity soul technique was genuinely stepping into the top-notch ranks. A mumble. Su Xing opened his eyes and saw the Shiqian that had been tightly embraced to his chest squirming in protest, and his hands happened to have one on her shoulder and the other on her butt. The thief star Shi Yuan's face appeared to be red like a tomato. Su Xing deadpan parted lips with Shi Yuan, glancing around the vicinity. His divine intent already could no longer sense the Taoist Luo River. Has he already left? Su Xing's completely oblivious to what happened expression made Shi Yuan open her eyes wide. This was too shameless. That was her, the thief star's, first kiss. She wanted to curse a few words of hate at him, and she was on the verge of saying so when she swallowed her words. Speaking about this out loud would only add to her embarrassment, so she might as well put on a nonchalant appearance. He searched for some time and left after not finding us. Shi Yuan replied. She prepared to struggle free from Su Xing's body, but Su Xing immediately blocked her. Several dozen escape lights flew over one after another. One look showed that they were Blooming Water Sword sect disciples. For the time being, don't go out. We'll set out again tomorrow. Perhaps that old Taoist is waiting for us to show ourselves. Su Xing whispered. Shi Yuan hesitated for a moment. Her hand gently pushed against Su Xing's chest, and raising her eyebrows, then, don't even think of taking advantage of this young lady. Su Xing solemnly promised, his mind wholly concerned with the surrounding vegetation. The two people's qi hiding arts were both the finest. Never mind a galaxy cultivator, a supercluster cultivator would not find it that easy to find them, and this brambly forest's range was 100 li. Even if they came with a carpet-style search, it was not that easy. After that, the Blooming Water Sword sect's dark blue escape lights were like shooting stars. Apparently, the Blooming Water Sword sect was pouring out an all-out effort to find them. Su Xing still leisurely considered countermeasures for afterwards. Shi Yuan definitely was not this relaxed. Actually, this was the very first time she was staying alone with a man in a narrow space. Especially frightening was that she suddenly, with no explanation, kissed her counterpart. Although this kiss was only a gesture of gratitude because Su Xing staked his life to accompany her on an adventure, with regards to the thief star, what star duels, what maiden mountain, none of it was like having someone sincerely go wild and have fun together with her. Shi Yuan furtively looked Su Xing up and down and discovered he actually was a very ideal man. The thief star vaguely somewhat understood how the knowledge star Wu Yong would review the majestic star in that way. Just as she was thinking these thoughts, for the latter part of the night, the thief star fell asleep upon Su Xing's chest. Su Xing smiled as he glanced at her. Gently holding her in his embrace, he entered the state of oneness of heaven and man. This night was sleepless. Blooming Water Sword Sect, Heavenly Water Hall. All the protectors and hall masters each looked as if they were facing a great foe, cold sweat soaking their backs. In particular, the guardian hall of the Overboard Summit was even more pale. Don't worry, Hall Master Wei, too, the headmaster will definitely catch that thief. Exactly. Unexpectedly stealing from directly above the Blooming Water Sword sect's head, they're acting recklessly, ha. An exceedingly chilly, cold grunt sounded out. That laughing cultivator immediately felt his 4 limbs grow ice cold, oppressed where he stood by a powerful strength. Headmaster Taoist Luo River walked into the Heavenly Water Hall, his expression extremely unsightly and vile. The numerous cultivators present changed their expressions. Unexpectedly, the head could not catch them. Headmaster. All the disciples clasped together their hands in greeting, shouting loudly. Surprisingly, someone snuck onto this school's blooming water hall and not a single person knew. Just what are you all cultivating? Taoist Luo River yelled. How can this Taoist face the secluded ancestral master and explain this to him? Absolutely disgraceful. Overboard Peak Guardian Hall, go to the disciplinary hall to receive punishment. As you wish. The Guardian Hall disciples promptly said. Just what cause is that thief, that the headmaster was unable to capture them? A female cultivator said. Although her cultivation could be said to be at galaxy middle stage, the secluded ancestral master was her instructor, and she completely did not fear the so-called head's expression. Ling Xian, 3, you're somewhat unaware, and it is unknown what magic that thief used to disappear from before this Taoist. Taoist Luo Riverside. Do we report this to the ancestral master? Unnecessary. Taoist Luo River resolutely declined, it was only a petty thief. This Taoist will definitely capture him. But what was stolen was the blooming water divine thunder true technique. Ling Xian frowned. This was the blooming water sword sex-guarded secret, they could not leave this unannounced. I have my own position. I need not say again, the old ancestor is currently at Bian City. If, when he returns, this Taoist has not captured that bandit, then certainly we will inform the ancestral master. Ling Xian said nothing more. Headmaster, Chen Zhonglin and his star general ask for an audience. A disciple said. Let him enter. Chen Zhonglin walked into the great hall. Passing through that very night's self-cultivation with the sect's best healing secret pill, the two people completely did not have those sorry appearances that the numerous disciples saw last night. Zhonglin, you two are actually fine? Ling Xian asked, concerned. The blooming water sword sect indeed placed all its strength onto Chen Zhonglin and his star general. During the star duels phase, saying that they were the blooming water sword sect's most guarded treasure was not an exaggeration. Many thanks to Senior Ling Xian for your concern. Thanks to the instructor and many disciples' treatment, your junior is now already healed. Every detail of the events leading to last night's incident. Taoist Luo River asked. The rest of the people in the main hall did not dare gasp a breath. Chen Zhonglin briefly told the whole story once, but when he spoke about Lin Chong, the cultivators in the entire main hall actually let out a breath of cold air. Lin Chong, you didn't see her, did you? How could it be Lin Chong? Ling Xian shouted, astonished. Yaoer absolutely was not mistaken. That definitely was the Arctic Star Serpent spear. Chen Zhonglin was unsightly. How could he not be willing to see with his own eyes? The panther head Lin Chong astonishingly had signed a star duel covenant, do not mention how envious his heart was. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Unexpectedly, it's the majestic star. Maiden Mountain's 5 tiger generals. The situation had turned grave. Even if it is Lin Chong, the one that signed the contract must die. We must capture him. Taoist Luo River sounded cold. Zhonglin, do you still remember the thief's appearance? It was too dark. Zhonglin could not see clearly. Chen Zhonglin shook his head. In short, keep this secret first, we must not beat the grass to scare the snake. 5. As for the blooming water divine thunder true technique, as long as the other side uses the blooming water divine thunder, we can catch him. Ling Xian declared. The others nodded. It could only be this way. Zhonglin, you two rest properly. The others, immediately go look for that nebulous stage star master. Taoist Luo River ordered. He turned and left the hall, an escape light that ascended and flew towards the blooming water hall. Inside the blooming water already were more than 20 disciples standing guard. Taoist Luo River entered the main hall, and securely closing the door, his hand grasping a token, he walked to an absolutely empty court. He abruptly gave a shady, lopsided cold smile. If it is Lin Chong, then that's even better. Cultivating that type of divine thunder true technique requires you die without an intact corpse. Taoist Luo River laughed loudly, an actually carefree smile. He swept his eyes over the chamber, and moving his divine intent, a secret compartment popped out. Taoist Luo River's smiling expression froze with a start. He saw the secret compartment was unexpectedly completely empty without a single thing inside. Immediately, it was as if Taoist Luo River was struck by lightning. Not good, he stole the 5 spirits' heavenly book. The blooming water sword sect already caused a great disturbance in the rippling wave kingdom. In the heavens, on the earth and everywhere there could be seen flying swords and escape lights, making the star cultivators of rippling wave kingdom feel uneasy. At this moment, inside Suwen's health cottage, the blooming water sword sect did not know the person they sought was at this moment openly dwelling inside the cottage's bedroom. Although it was not absolute that the most dangerous place was the safest place, at this time, it was indeed very effective. When Su Xing and Shi Qian swaggered back to the cottage, practically no one found out. Young master, this time truly was too dangerous. Wu Xinjie had lingering fears. Seek riches and honor inside danger. Su Xing laughed. Taking chances could be said to have dissolved into his blood. Shi Yuan, did you get the item? Wu Xinjie asked. This time, even master faced such a great risk. Had the thief star returned empty-handed again, then she truly was unworthy of the title of best thief under heaven. Fortunately, the flea on a drum did not disappoint. 2 items flew onto the table. One was a blue, bright jade strip, and the other was an official report booklet. How are there 2? Lin Yingmei frowned. I dunno. When this young lady stole that true technique, I sensed there was a secret compartment hidden underneath. Opening it while I was there took up a lot of time. I saw this book rolled up in there, and it was called Blooming Water something. This was second nature to the thief star. The moment she encountered a hidden mechanism or secret compartment, she could not help pitting herself against it. However, Shi Yuan was completely unaware this unintentional action actually averted a calamity for Su Xing. Wu Xinjie curiously looked at that rolled book. Moving her divine intent, a row of runes appeared. The words were like bright jewels, dark blue fading in and out, almost like flowing water. The knowledge star cried out in alarm. Heavens, this is the 5 spirits heavenly scroll. 5 spirits heavenly scroll. What's that? Shi Yuan was confused, the name seemingly somewhat familiar. It seems to be the same as the blooming water divine thunder true technique. Su Xing held that jade strip, his divine intent sweeping across it and then sweeping over that 5 spirits heavenly scroll. The first half of the cultivation technique was more or less linked, but there were some portions that were very odd. If previously Su Xing only felt something was strange yet could not comprehend it, nowadays, he entered the absolute sincerity soul technique see mountains not as mountains second realm, and immediately he would understand the odd portions. The jade strip's cultivation technique had been amended several times and would faintly establish a Mara, 7, within the mind, yet that heavenly scroll was not the same. There were not any sort of side effects, and on the contrary, the latter stages had even more cultivation techniques. What a good blooming water sword sect, truly ruthless. Su Xing smiled coldly. Master, what's wrong? Lin Yingmei and the other girls asked. Su Xing tossed the jade strip. This jade strip has been edited numerous times. If anyone else were to practice it, perhaps if he just cultivated to the realm, he would have no way of controlling the divine thunder in his body and explode. Ah, they looked and immediately sensed the difference. Thinking it over again, they then understood what Su Xing meant when he said ruthless. Using a modified blooming water divine thunder true technique placed on top, the true technique would actually be hidden in the secret compartment. With things this way, even if someone were to come steal it, they certainly would not think the genuine technique would be hidden underneath. Pity that they ran into a robber the likes of Shi Qian who stole both books. Of course, even more unexpected was that Su Xing could see through this at a glance. However, this blooming water technique scroll is really terrific. The power incantation inside is simply unimaginable. According to the practice on this, it's no wonder that this blooming water divine thunder is so powerful. The one who created this cultivation technique is truly extraordinary. Ha, ha, we stole his successor's closely guarded secret to practice. Isn't that a bit too brilliant? Su Xing chuckled. The knowledge star smiled. Young master is overthinking. As Xinjie sees it, the true thief should be the blooming water sword sect. The group did not understand. Wu Xinjie smiled. This scroll is definitely the legendary Liangshan's immemorial secret treasure, 5 Spirits Law Heavenly Book. Immemorial Secret Treasure 5 Spirits Law Heavenly Book. The ancient and secret treasure phrases that Wu Xinjie spoke of made the people present all draw in a cold breath. 1,000 years have yet to pass since the 9th Liangshan continent star duels. The time before these 1,000 years was known to everyone as the Ancient Wild One, and the even more ancient time was known as the Immemorial Great Desolation. That perhaps was a world of hundreds of millions of years of primal chaos. An ancient secret treasure absolutely would make the entire Liangshan surge into chaos. Didn't we hear that this was the Blooming Water Sword Sect's founder's original secret technique? Could it be said that he was an immemorial cultivator? And Suwen leisurely entered the room and heard Wu Xinjie's terrifying tale. The knowledge star had extreme talent, ability and insight vast as the ocean, and no one would doubt what she said. And that's why I said the Blooming Water Sword sect is the swindler. The knowledge star giggled. The 5 Spirits Heavenly Book altogether was divided into the 5 elements and 5 scrolls, recording Liangshan's 5 elements great secret technique. Regarding the 5 elements astonishing thunder's cultivation, perhaps no other text of secret arts could be even more comprehensive than the 5 Spirits Heavenly Book. For anyone that received one of these scrolls, even if it was not a 5 elements astonishing thunder that could be refined into a great power, this 5 Spirits Heavenly Book was the Blooming Water Scroll. The cultivator that began the Blooming Water Sword sect posed himself as the creator. Besides founding the school, he even made the cosmetic change Blooming Water Divine Thunder True Technique. What is he if not a cheat? Wu Xinjie coldly smiled. This method of duping the entire Liangshan continent for the past several hundreds of years was truly awesome. However, this did concern the 5 Spirits Heavenly Book that simply was never before seen by anyone. And we don't know how he obtained this 5 Spirits Heavenly Book. Everyone contemplated this. Shi Yuan clapped her hands to interrupt their pondering, smiling, since it's an immemorial secret treasure, then Su Xing, you really picked up something for cheap. This young lady has now satisfactorily completed the mission. I, on the other hand, will go study very meticulously this MO attack mechanism records, so I won't be keeping you company. Su Xing's opened his mouth, apparently also not having any reason to detain the thief star. Nodding, he said, then you be a bit more careful. 2. Many thanks for the young master's concern. Shi Yuan winked. Su Xing, you too. They definitely will not let you go for this immemorial secret treasure. Shi Yuan, don't you want to be together with us? Wu Xinjie glanced at Su Xing, openly saying, since you helped us steal this secret treasure, the Blooming Water Sword sect won't let you go either. Let them bring it on. This young lady isn't afraid at all. The thief star scoffed. Opening the door, she was just about to leave when she suddenly remembered something. Smiling as she turned around, this young lady heard that sex people say Relic Blade Sand was recently discovered at Bian City, but a supercluster cultivator has reportedly also appeared. Su Xing, if you were just a bit more bold, then you actually could go take a look. After she said these words, her figure jumped, and left without looking back just like that. Shi Qian truly goes her own way. 3. Su Xing held the 5 Spirits Heavenly Book Blooming Water Scroll. Crooked characters the size of tadpoles on the surface of the paper floated up. These characters were very peculiar, appearing to be just like a river, faintly carrying a chill that intimidated people. Practicing the secret technique recorded, Su Xing practiced according to what was written once, and sure enough, it was extraordinary. The originally seemingly dying blooming water divine thunder nurtured inside his body flowed swiftly like rivers. A boundless majesty, it almost wanted to break out of his body. Fortunately, Su Xing had an absolutely valiant ocean of consciousness. Matching the absolute sincerity soul technique to this intensifying blooming water divine thunder to suppress it. Then, he started to refine it bit by bit. The blooming water divine thunder gradually turned dark from its initial light color. When Su Xing started to refine the blooming water divine thunder's power, Wu Xinjie and Lin Yingmei kept close by at his side. Shi Qian kissed master. Lin Yingmei abruptly uttered this sentence aloud. Wu Xinjie nearly choked. She looked at the majestic star, amazed. The thief star and master kissed. Lin Yingmei felt that she needed to inform this matter to her. A star maiden kissing the master of other star generals was too strange. The knowledge star clearly understood that the thief star was probably moved by Su Xing thinking about it. It seemed to be the case. Daring to go with her to the blooming water sword sect to face danger, this absolutely was not an ordinary sort of trust. When the thief star originally raised this request, it was hard to avoid not probing Su Xing's intentions. She could not help recalling that she originally took a lot of trouble as well as twists and turns, even unscrupulously plotting against Lin Yingmei to sign a contract with Su Xing. Now, it could be assumed that the knowledge star felt this was rather nebulous. The master she encountered was one in 10,000, a giant among men, able to contract with 2 star generals. Did she form a contract? Wu Xinjie did not know why she was unexpectedly somewhat looking forward to this. Although she knew her own question was naive, contracting with Maiden Mountain star generals had 3 types of conditions. One type of condition was that during the contracting ceremony, the star general had no way to refuse. This was Liangshan Continent's very mainstream point of view, defeat the star general and make her swear allegiance. The second type was to swear a promise ceremony. This type of contract was established on the foundation that both sides were willing, and the star generals and star masters that could form this type of contract both would increase their strength drastically. Every major sect and sword school would select this method, exploiting countless terms to attract a star general to contract. The third type of condition could be said to be even higher level, even more illusory, the kiss contract. The star general's contract's highest ceremony, the kiss. As a condition, when a star cultivator successfully kissed a star maiden, a mutual ceremony would be smoothly born. However, every generation of star masters that could do the kiss contract were perhaps all rare as phoenix feathers. The reason was very simple. Star maidens saw kisses the same as their own lives. How could they easily offer such a thing? Even if there were some star masters and star generals whose strength reached the peak, they each could not kiss each other. The star master did not dare use force. If both sides of the contract filled in the cracks, that was absolutely deadly. Besides viewing a kiss as chastity, there was another reason that restricted the number of kiss contracts, and this was the star master itself. Maybe some people could exploit every sort of means to seize the chance to kiss a star maiden, but inevitably, they carried every sort of ambition and desire. Any sort of negative distracting thoughts would inevitably make forming a contract impossible. Only those types that did not think of it as a contract, but wholeheartedly cared for the star general herself could succeed in a kiss contract. 5. Liangshan Continent star masters that kissed star maidens certainly all would have the thought of signing a contract, and this also led to the rarity of kiss contracts. However, how could Wu Xinjie know that, originally, Su Xing and Lin Chang's contract was accidentally this third type, the kiss contract? Lin Yingmei perhaps also recalled this matter. Her face slightly red, she oddly stared at Wu Xinjie briefly. At that time, Shi Qian was merely considering master's safety. There weren't thoughts of signing a contract, so a contract was not possible. Wu Xinjie nodded, somewhat regretful. Star masters that possessed 2 star generals were already genius. 3 star generals was only her delusion, nothing more. 6. Wu Yong, why do you want to let master contract Shi Qian this much? Lin Yingmei asked. Yingmei, are you jealous? Wu Xinjie chuckled. Lin Yingmei got angry. Wu Yong, what nonsense is this? Wu Xinjie laughed, not provoking Lin Yingmei any further. Being able to make Lin Chong willing to sign a contract, some odd element must be involved. The knowledge star restrained her frivolous manner, giving a drawn-out sigh. Actually, we're all sisters, yet why must we fight so fiercely? 7. The meaning of our descent is only for this reason. Don't tell me that Maiden Mountain's 108 stars shouldn't be one. Xinjie is not hoping to go change a notion that took shape 1,000 years ago, but having more sisters is never a bad thing. Lin Yingmei went blank, silent. Maiden Mountain sisters. Inside the dog-eat-dog star duels, were there still people that remembered this? This question. She had no way of replying. After staying at the health cottage for several consecutive days, the Blooming Water Sword sect gradually withdrew its great fanfare. Liangshan continent was large, finding a person was truly not that simple to do. Su Xing also finished learning the technique of the 5 spirits heavenly book Blooming Water Scroll over this time period, successfully refining the Blooming Water Divine Thunder once. Legend said that after 21 refinements were completed, star cultivators soon afterwards could refine the Blooming Water Divine Thunder into any sort of form, as if controlling another arm. On this day, Su Xing set out to bid farewell to Suwen. These past days, they were under the care of the efficacious star. Not only doing every sort of convenience in Rippling Wave Kingdom, but Su Xing also feasted his eyes on the materials of pills and herbs, even becoming proficient in that tiny bit of knowledge of pill concoction. And Suwen was earnestly adorable. Looking after him in every possible way made Su Xing very moved. He could not help but think of her like the little sister in a family. He was extremely reluctant to part. However, since ancient times, heroes feared a soft countryside lacking a heroic air the most. Su Xing also knew that he could not delay. Next, he needed to go to the Great Liang dynasty not only to see the Divine Star platform to hear about the matter of becoming an outlaw, the Relic Blade Sand of Bian City was also a required aspiration. Young master, careful on the road. Return any time you wish. And Suwen faintly smiled, gifting some pills specially refined for today. How about we become sworn siblings as of this day? Su Xing momentarily had an impulse. And Suwen gasped in astonishment, red clouds flying across her cheeks. Lin Yingmei and Wu Xinjie looked at Su Xing, dumbstruck. Their own master truly could not be judged with common sense, unexpectedly wanting to be sworn siblings with the efficacious star. It seemed the master really did not treat the star duels as a thing. Young Master Su Xing, do not make a joke out of Suwen. And Suwen repeatedly shook her head, softly saying, Suwen believes she cannot match the 2 sisters at the young master's side. What do you 2 feel about Suwen and I becoming sworn brother and sister? Su Xing asked. Lin Yingmei uttered not a word, definitely not in opposition. Wu Xinjie rolled her eyes, showing a cheerful smile. Suwen, young master, is this considerate of you? Are you turning your back on young master? Elder sister obviously knows Suwen is not thinking like this. The efficacious star divine physician was somewhat embarrassed. Ha, then little sister Suwen is master's little sister from now on. Whoever dares to bully little sister Suwen is basically bullying my master. How could the efficacious star not know what Wu Xinjie was implying? This was even more like some sort of disguised contract, a covert protection. It looks like I still cannot match up with you, Suwen. Su Xing pretended to be disappointed. There is no need for the young master to say as such. As long as the young master does not avoid this burden that is Suwen, Suwen promises the young master that it is so. And Suwen bit her lip. Even Lin Yingmei could not help but smile upon seeing her bashful blushing. Wu Xinjie laughed loudly without restraint, holding 2 cups of oath-swearing sake. The ancients have the oath of the peach garden. 2. Today has master and Suwen forge a conjugal union. Conjugal union, yeah, right. Su Xing glared at her, but he still merrily drank the sake, and sprinkling it, from this day forth, and Suwen, you are my, Su Xing's, little sister. Your brother swears under oath, if in the future, brother treats you unfairly, then it shall be as if this Celadon cup has ended. Su Xing grasped the cup in his hand, and the Celadon cup immediately became specks. And Suwen's eyes were slightly red. Opening her mouth, she wanted to say some things, but she could not speak. Little sister Suwen, won't you save brother? Wu Xinjie teased. And Suwen returned to her expression. Looking towards Su Xing, she softly called, Big brother. Su Xing burst with joy, saying, embarrassed, don't be this awkward. Just being like usual will be fine. Little sister Suwen, then do you want to go with us to Bian City? Lin Yingmei opened her mouth. If big brother has business, then little sis naturally will arrive. It's only that to this Bian City that little sis cannot go. It can't be said for sure that Shi Yuan will return to ask for information about brother Su Xing. And Suwen softly said. That's also fine. Su Xing nodded. This trip to Bian City would be ominous and dangerous. Before they lacked bedding in Liangshan again, and Suwen staying at the health cottage was clearly even safer somewhat. Suwen pondered. Gently pulling her fine black hair, from inside a decorative jade hairpin, she took out a bead. This bead seemed ordinary, but along with the fragrant scent she spat out, that bead immediately seemed to have had a layer of dust brushed away. It became transparent and pure, and its inside faintly had a splendid light flash. This, detoxification bead, 3, little sis gifts to brother to use for self-protection. Detoxification bead? The nearby two girls showed a surprised expression. It seems this detoxification bead's value was considerable. Su Xing promptly shook his head, waving his hand in refusal. I'll leave this to you for your self-protection, I cannot accept it. And Suwen smiled, brother's words are mistaken. Little sister does not fear 100 poisons. And Suwen only held on to this detoxification bead to use as an accessory. Brother, on the outside, Liangshan is ruthless. Having a detoxification bead for protection, little sister can feel relieved. If brother does not accept it, then this turning your back on little sister, what Su Xing had said early had been turned around by Suwen to reverse their positions. Then I'll gift you a little something as well. Su Xing compromised. Searching through his astral bag for a while, he did not find something that suited Suwen. The astral treasure profound star barrier was suitable, however she would not accept it. At this time, Su Xing suddenly recalled the good item he obtained at the Kunwu ancient monument, taking out a jadeite astral treasure. Ah, an astral treasure? Wu Xinjie was startled, and Suwen was also shocked. This sort of super rare item was more than enough to spare in, even if it was exchanged for a detoxification bead. Look inside. Su Xing indicated to her. Inside this jadeite gem, only a slim monster could be seen frozen inside. This is the ancient strange beast spirit swallowing dragon. And Suwen very quickly recognized it. Brother, how could you have something like this? Lin Yingmei briefly told the events at the Kunwu ancient monument. This was also the first time Wu Xinjie was made aware that the Kunwu ancient monument was actually solved by Su Xing, momentarily shocked. I'm unable to train this spirit-swallowing dragon. Little sis Suwen, you are the divine physician, you should have some understanding regarding this. Keeping this on me is a waste. I'll leave this for your protection. Su Xing smiled, completely from the heart. And Suwen covered her mouth, her body slightly trembling, a mist lingering in her eyes. What's the matter? Su Xing was frozen, not understanding why Suwen suddenly lost her composure. How could he have known this shock brought to the efficacious star by the thing he raised? Previously, Suwen only felt Su Xing and she signing a contract was perhaps because she was the divine physician, but when he took out the astral gemstone's essence-swallowing dragon, everything was different. The spirit-swallowing dragon was an ancient strange beast, a beast that specifically fed on essence. If it could be trained, then it absolutely was a terrifying trump card. This sort of thing was simply more powerful than an ancient astral treasure to the unarmed and defenseless efficacious star. 5. Su Xing should be able to understand why putting this strange beast in her hand would elicit a shock. However, without any hesitation, it was clear that Su Xing truly viewed her as a relative. 1. Does this mean contracting her is out of the question? How could this sort of trust not make the efficacious star moved? Wu Xinjie also advised her to accept it. The knowledge star actually was thinking purely of using this as a pretext to make the efficacious star loyal only to master and no other. Additionally, like Su Xing said, although an ancient strange beast was good, truly rearing it still required a person the likes of the efficacious star divine physician for that to work. Otherwise, it was still a waste. Little sister definitely will not disappoint brother. And Suwen solemnly promised. You have to carefully avoid people's eyes and ears. Su Xing ordered. Su Xing then gave those thunder water flowers and thunder water flower snake crown all to the efficacious star to refine, and afterwards was another order. Finally, the girl even kissed Su Xing's cheek. Brother, you're worrisome. Under the efficacious star's caring gaze, Su Xing, Lin Yingmei, and Wu Xinjie boarded the wind-swayed raft and departed. Destination. The lady adorned in red plays music at Treasure Pavilion Pagoda, the scholar recites and walks near the beautiful bridge of flowing water. Bian City was the great Liang dynasty's capital. Her magnificent, classical beauty made Su Xing, who was used to seeing modernized cities, and then seeing city-states with such rich history, unbearably shook up for a bit. Richly decorated dwellings and pavilion chambers were everywhere. When he was looking down from the wind-swayed raft in the sky, red walls and green willows, flying smoke thin as cotton, and an imperial palace of gold, jade, and colored glass was just like a gigantic, entrenched dragon. Imposing and majestic, it was worthy of the name of Liangshan continent's #1 dynasty. As for the current emperor, Liang Huizong, too, he was also a legendary character. His mother empress was a royal consort, and the time when Liang Huizong was born was the moment the internal palace underwent a power struggle. When he was born, he was met with an assassination, and his mother died for him. Liang Huizong was rescued from the imperial palace by a palace maid, and afterwards, he coincidentally had the opportunity to enter the true immortal hall, becoming an outstanding star cultivator. Afterwards, when he was 18, he learned of his own identity that year. Despite his instructor's warnings, he alone killed his way into the imperial palace to seize power. That battle could be said to have ended now since the dawn of time. At the time, the rest of the crown princes at the imperial palace had many schools supporting them. Behind them were star cultivators working behind the scenes, yet Liang Huizong relied on the 72 outer void deities' sword style, 3, to bloodily purge Bian City. Reportedly, at the time, the dragon river protecting the city was dark red, like blood. Only after 70 days was the river clear, and from then on, all under heaven acknowledged his rule. Liangshan continent had a tacit understanding that schools would absolutely not be involved in the secular world. However, Liang Huizong's status was special. At his back was the true immoral hall, and the rest of the schools that saw this could only turn a blind eye. Where was the school known as True Immortal Hall? Star cultivators had a limerick that went like this. 1 clear, 2 halls, 3 palaces, 4 sword sections, 5 lakes, 6 oceans, 7 mountains, from 8 directions, 9 firmaments azure dragons. 5. The meaning was that these 10 great schools could intimidate the azure dragon of the 9 firmaments, and various barbarians paid tribute. Furthermore, the true immortal hall was one of the 2 halls. Originally, every large school did not permit admittance of the imperial family into its halls, but Liang Huizong was an exception. He certainly was a cultivation and military genius. In the end, those schools heaved a great sigh whenever they discussed this affair, fate. Because of this, the true immortal hall's power seemed to pressure the clear void path of 1 clear. Although Liang Huizong's violent and bloody rise to power made countless people resentful and discontent, afterwards was the enlightenment of politics. Officials treated each other well and brave individuals came forth in great numbers to open up the frontier in a 10-year expedition for 10 years of peace and prosperity. After 20 years, the great Liang dynasty's military accomplishments were at their golden age as writing styles bloomed and the literati came out in droves with beautiful articles unexpectedly surpassing that from the past. Soon after, Liang Huizong encouraged even more for all restrictions of influential families joining sections. Formerly, Liang Taizong passed down an execution of all relatives order during his reign for the sake of worrying about the rest of the clan's power expand to their former glory before the star cultivators, making countless good, talented and accomplished youths harbor grudges endlessly. It was precisely this condition that completely roped in the rest of the hierarchy. The other sects recruited disciples from the imperial family, the nobility, and the landowning class continuously. Just like how a Bian city had the shadows of at least 100 schools, for this reason, Liang Huizong specially constructed an inner castle for star cultivators within the city. Su Xing piloted the wind-swayed raft to descend outside the city so as not to attract attention. Lin Yingmei and Wu Xinjie also entered the star nest. Bian City, after all, was the great Liang dynasty's national capital. Its schools were innumerable, it simply was a dragon's pool and a tiger's den. Liang Huizong unexpectedly is this powerful. He certainly would not renounce a star general. Su Xing recalled Gong Kaiwei. Her father was Prince Feng Wu, 6, was he not? Wu Xinjie had previously visited Bian City, the knowledge star's understanding of many events was far greater than anyone's. Correct, and far beyond what young master can expect. How so? The great Liang dynasty imperial family altogether has at least 3 star masters. Ah, 3, Su Xing was startled. Correct, at least 3. Wu Xinjie said, Liang Huizong has 9 sons and 6 daughters. The oldest is 17 this year. The youngest should only be a month. There are 5 already qualified to become his successor, and Liang Huizong's method of selecting the heir of the title of emperor, young master, what is your guess? Star duel. Su Xing was blank. Right, it's a star duel. Isn't that internal strife? Lin Yingmei said. A great majority of schools generally only would foster 1 star master. The cause for this was not awfully complicated, star duels could only have 1 victor at the very end. If the 5 successors all inherited star masters, the best outcome was that 4 would necessarily die, the worst would be a complete wipeout. Su Xing's heart thought that this Ling Huizong was indeed iron-blooded and pitiless. Was this not just callously watching his own sons and daughters be sent to die? However, thinking it over once more, going by this great Liang dynasty's robust foundation, the Liang clan imperial family actually could possibly become the final victor. Young master, the Liang clan imperial family has 2 people you must look out for. Wu Xinjie's tone was cautious. What sort of people? The current great Liang dynasty's princess Ling Yan, 7, and the second crown prince, Xiao Heng. 8, as far as I know, theirs are both extraordinary star generals. Su Xing nodded his head. Even if she was lacking, the star maiden able to become the imperial families would not be too lacking anywhere after that. Entering Bian City, Su Xing found a happiness and fortune inn, 9, and requested for a large guest room. Then, without stopping to rest, he rushed to the market square. He already did not have too much time given to understand Bian City. At the time Su Xing went to the square, in a corner of the imperial city in the northern part of Bian City, within an imposing and grand mansion, a young person wearing a flimsy green shirt stood inside a pavilion, both hands behind his back, a very rare look of satisfaction on his face as he appreciated the sights outside pavilion. A beautiful and splendid woman stood to the side not far away, a long skirt, 10, with cotton thread binding tight the satin fabric, exhibited an exquisite and alluring appearance. Her tube top and blue butterfly outer garment sheltered her white skin. The surrounding blue stripes gave a dim blue light when examined carefully, and her sparkling and pure earrings hung, swaying in the wind. Fine black hair dispersed across her shoulders used a blood-red bellflower hairpin to pull up. Stuck in and tilting, flowing like clouds, it seemed like crow's hair. thinly applied makeup, eyebrows like bent willows, and a light point of vermilion in the middle of her forehead, she seemed beautiful and moving. Her delicate hands kept a red sheet inside her vermilion lips, like blood. Her languid thoughts were hardly covered up. Her bearing seemed to be lazy. In a moment, the girl suddenly turned towards the garden entrance, that pair of beautiful eyes vigilant and demonically charming. And at this not remote flower garden entrance came the sound of footsteps. Then a black hat and embroidered gown wearing old man appeared there. When he lifted his head, he just happened to meet the girl's snake-like and demonic, deviant eyes, and he could not help but tremble and sound a Cold War alarm in his heart. The girl put on a playful smile. That youth simultaneously turned his gaze, faintly saying, "Elder Yun, 11, how is Bian City right now?" "Reporting to your majesty." Star cultivators that have heard of the Kunwa sand have come in quite the numbers. Elder Yun forced a laugh and then walked over. His cultivation, in any case, had reached the galaxy stage, much higher than the youth at Nebula middle stage before him. But even if things were like this, when the old man faced towards this man, he still showed a respectful and deferential veneration, and to no other. The youth before him was the great Liang dynasty's second crown prince, Zhao Heng. "Has a star master taken the bait?" Zhao Heng smiled. "Those star masters are very careful and have not been detected. Actually, a supercluster stage cultivator has been drawn here." Elder Yun whispered. "A supercluster cultivator. Could my elder sister not have returned either?" Zhao Heng coldly smiled. "I heard Princess Ling Yan has appeared at Yu Province. 12, truly disappointing. Eye of the Palace, 13, have not fought about with sister in a long time. Eye of the Palace also wants to know if a 3-star destined weapon can cut down Maiden Mountain's 5 great generals." The girl coldly said. Zhao Heng and the elderly man glanced at the girl, each showing different expressions. "There is something I must inform you of, Your Majesty." The elder suddenly recalled something. "What's that?" "The immortal hero princess has already left the heavenly ice sacred temple without permission." Su Xing went in an entire circle at the Bian City Market Square, and it deserved to be called the Great Liang Dynasty's national capital. Due to the first under heaven Emperor Liang Huizong overseeing things, every large school, sword sect, and the like, as well as the amount of scattered star cultivators that came to Bian City numbered in the 10,000s. This place's items were far more complete than the Heavenly River Market Square, and the prices were even more expensive. A single bottle of Qi recovery pills cost more than 1,000 liang of gold. Su Xing settled for a bottle of very good, returned spirit liquid that had a price even higher, at several 10,000 liang of gold. However, if it were swapped over to a star cultivator's necessary artifacts, pills, secret techniques, and so on, bartering was actually not that demanding. Seeing things like this, Su Xing found out he was actually quite poor. The gold in his pockets was approximately 50,000 liang, and he had only just purchased more than 1 bottle of returned spirit liquid. As for the rest of the tantalizing artifacts, he simply need not look at them any longer. Su Xing walked all over through more than 100 shops and did not see relic blade sand. On the other hand, thunder fire sand, pure copper fine steel and such were innumerable. However, what Su Xing considered about, first of all, was the relic blade sand. This sort of item had to be set aside for the time being. Finally, Su Xing could only place his hopes upon Bian City Market Square's Clear Void Treasure Hall. 2. Speaking of the Clear Void Treasure Hall, it was very interesting. The True Immortals Hall, 3, increasingly expanded through Yang Huizong's power, and the benefits distributed made the Clear Void Path's inner circle somewhat resentful. Liang Huizong also was an enlightened sovereign king, and seeing this, he then established in Bian City an auction. The goal was to concentrate some first-rate materials together. Some low-rank cultivators that possibly possessed good items did not dare sell. After all, some top-notch treasured materials possibly would attract a deadly disaster. Treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. This logic was a required learning for every star cultivator entering the astral. Besides seizing the opportunity to grow Bian City's star cultivators, the market square also let the clear void Taoists a portion of the profits. This sort of auction style that publicly offered sales actually received doubt when it first started, but along with several valued artifacts, pills and so on being sold, the auction afterwards then rose to fame. It was an even greater enticement, especially towards low-level star cultivators. Liangshan continent was so large, and it could not be said for sure what happy encounter could be picked up. Keeping some hot items at the present stage were useless, so it was better off to use them to be sold. Yet, low-level cultivation star cultivators would not dare take them out, and with things like this, the auction would then give them the best channel. By only receiving a small intermediary's fee, they could attract hundreds of powerful star cultivators to fall over each other in their eagerness to buy. Both sides each had something to gain, and for the sake of letting the auction making the other star cultivators relax, Liang Huizong then handed it over to Liangshan Continent's #1 school, the Clear Void Taoists. Furthermore, it was dubbed with a good name, Clear Void Treasure Hall. Su Xing's sole valuable was precisely the corpse of the ancient demon beast Blooming Water Dragon, and exchanging this for relic blade sand would not be a problem. If Su Xing wanted to sell the dragon, he only needed to do it at the Clear Void Treasure Hall. Su Xing thought it over. Although this dragon was an ancient demon beast, it was not at the point it would make the #1 school in the land smash their own signboard. Thinking of this, Su Xing ingested an change appearance pill. 5. This was a pill that in Suwen specially refined, and this foster sister was quite attentive to know that in Bian City, Su Xing inevitably could not reveal his real face. This pill required many tens upon tens of thousands of liang of gold. Pill refiners actually had prospective futures. And in Suwen had just only 3. Swallowing the change appearance pill, the pill's power spreading felt just like there were 10,000 ants climbing about on his face and was extremely painful. His bones squirming movements were audible, his flesh also incessantly changing. Su Xing felt his face seemingly be melted like a scheduled demolition, finally subsiding only after a long while. Looking at the mirror, Su Xing's appearance transformed from a determined and dashing soldier's look to a full beard, the uneven and ugly face of a middle-aged man. 6. How unsightly. The ugly went with the ugly, and the change appearance pill only had 5 hours of effect. Su Xing then walked over to the Clear Void Treasure Hall without stopping to rest. A black-clothed boy received Su Xing. Seeing his purpose of coming was to auction an item, he then led him to see the shopkeeper. If star cultivators wanted to sell, they first of all had to let the shopkeeper give the goods an inspection to determine if there were sufficient qualifications, and then they would arrange a date. The shopkeeper was a slightly putting on weight fatty. His cultivation was at nebula late stage, and when he saw Su Xing, his eyes held some revulsion. Most probably, this appearance actually was too unsightly. However, in any case, he has operated for more than 10 years, and he saw many cultivators sell more than a few valuable objects. He said, "My friend, I wonder what you want to auction off." This. Su Xing's voice penetrated with an all-out effort. He opened his bag a crack. The shopkeeper wrinkled his brow. Sweeping his divine intent towards the bag's opening, his slightly loathing expression immediately turned dumbstruck. This is, please wait a bit, friend. This item is actually very far from my expectations. This one who is beneath you needs to report to the senior shopkeeper. Su Xing nodded. After a moment passed, an old man with a long beard white as snow lifted the curtain and walked in. The old man's eyes were full, his face completely rosy, wearing a robe that let off dust, showing a refined and artistic air. A sort of dignity like a tsunami makes Su Xing almost drop to his knees in submission. 7. Unexpectedly, it was a supercluster stage cultivator. How is this friend addressed? The old man's voice was gentle. His cultivation was at least galaxy stage, but he did not have the slightest amount of arrogance, making Su Xing have a very favorable impression. Indeed worthy of being called the Clear Void Taoists, Liangshan's #1 Great Immortals School. Your servant is Zhou Sihai. 8. Su Xing randomly put together a name. May I ask, honored senior? Zhou Sihai. 9. When Wu Xingjie heard this name Su Xing cooked up, she could not help but want to laugh. This old Taoist is the Taoist Cool Breeze. I wonder if fellow Zhou could give this old Taoist a look at that item? Taoist Cool Breeze asked. After looking at it, the Taoist Cool Breeze did not show astonishment like that shopkeeper. Lightly smiling, and with a little hint of mystery and enigma, the ancient demon beast Blooming Water Dragon actually is very rarely seen. A pity the Blooming Water Thunder Dragon pill is no more. A pity, such a pity. Could it be it can't be auctioned? Su Xing asked. Of course it isn't. This is indeed the most valuable article the Clear Void Treasure Hall has seen in the past few years. May I ask, this Blooming Water Dragon, where did fellow Zhou obtain it? The Taoist Cool Breeze slightly smiled. Su Xing had already thought of an excuse that he blurted out. I was with a fellow when we happened to see this dragon on its dying breath, which we then rationally cut down. He took away the Blooming Water Dragon pill and the dragon's soul. This dragon's corpse was then given to your servant. Su Xing put on a lamenting expression. The two-star cultivators looked at him very sympathetically. This ancient demon beast's greatest valuables were just that Blooming Water Dragon pill and dragon soul, which were at least 100 times more valuable than this dragon corpse. The Taoist Cool Breeze did not doubt Su Xing's words. He already saw that this dragon indeed had arrived at old age, like it had been repressed for ages. Already at its dying breath, they had walked into a fortunate meeting. Since this issue is the ancient demon beast Blooming Water Dragon, this elder Taoist has a suggestion. I wonder whether or not fellow Zhou would listen. The Taoist Cool Breeze smiled. Please, speak. The Clear Void Treasure Hall shall hold a dragon gathering, a special performance to auction off this dragon. What say you? That shopkeeper was afraid the crude Su Xing did not comprehend the elder's intentions, explaining, the Taoist's intent is to use the next few days to promote your dragon. This way, you can then reap even greater profits. How could Su Xing not know? The better the dragon's sale, the Clear Void Treasure Hall's share of benefits was also greater. Of course, this Clear Void Taoist did not care about those gold bullion. What he wanted more was to give the Clear Void Treasure Hall a boost in interest, who let the Clear Void Treasure Hall auction this sort of ancient demon beast dragon for the very first time, huh? That will do, but I have a request. Speak it. For this dragon, I must exchange it for Relic Blade Sand. The Taoist Cool Breeze went blank. The shopkeeper looked at Su Xing, dumbstruck. Could it be that this ugly brute was still dreaming to use Relic Blade Sand to obtain a Star Maiden's contract? Truly a toad wanting to eat swan meat. Thinking of this, that fatty shopkeeper brimmed with ridicule towards Su Xing. The Taoist Cool Breeze perhaps also thought as much, nevertheless maintaining his tranquil bearing as he agreed. Subsequently, they discussed the particulars and signed a contract. The dragon gathering's time was arranged 3 days from now. Bian City's Imperial City. Elder Yun again rushed to the outside of the Constant Spirit Hall. That girl that should have been accompanying Prince Xiao Heng blocked him outside the door. That pair of eerie pupils carried a trace of mischief. His Majesty is currently secluded to break through to Nebula late stage. He currently cannot be disturbed. It will do to inform I of the palace of any matters. The Clear Void Treasure Hall recently sent out a spirit treasure notice. This old man specially came to speak with His Majesty. Elder Yun cupped his fists. The Spirit Treasure Notice was the Clear Void Treasure Hall's specially issued announcement when it would auction a very important item. Items that could send out a Spirit Treasure Notice were always pretty good. With the previous Spirit Treasure Notice, Xiao Heng took an earthly fiend Great Astral Treasure, Flying Star Shuttle, too, at the Clear Void Treasure Hall. What is it this time? The girl asked inquisitively. Ancient 7th rank Demon Beast Blooming Water Dragon. The girl was startled. Ancient 7th rank Demon Beast Blooming Water Dragon? The Clear Void Treasure Hall surprisingly has this sort of good thing. Your Majesty is unaware that it already does not have a soul and internal alchemy. 3. Elder Yun explained. No soul and internal alchemy. Then it is useless to us. The girl very quickly lost her interest. Although a 7th rank dragon's dragon skin, dragon claws, dragon muscles, dragon organs, dragon horn, dragon blood, and the up and down of the intact entire body were all pretty good materials, they were only pretty good. Do you know who slayed this dragon? She was more interested in this. To kill a 7th rank demon beast definitely was not that effortless, was using it for an auction not a bit too pitiful. I heard it is a nebula early stage cultivator that walked into a happy encounter, Your Majesty, but that seller has a condition that is very interesting. When the girl did not ask, Elder Yun then smiled, he wants relic blade sand in exchange. Relic blade sand. The girl slightly changed. Relic blade sand was a type of spirit sand that a few star generals needed to increase their destined star weapons ranks before 2 stars. Is he a star master? The Clear Void Hall is maintaining their secrecy on this. This old man also was unable to investigate his identity. Elder Yun regretfully said. Think of a way to find what sort of person he is. The girl's voice turned cold, being able to kill a dragon. I of the palace definitely do not believe in this sort of claim. His star general is definitely a heavenly star general. No matter what, investigate clearly the entire sequence of events. This old man shall command people to go do this. Elder Yun promptly said. 3 days' time passed in the turn of an eye. Like he had scheduled, Su Xing came to the Clear Void Treasure Hall. Taoist cool breeze drew him into the Spirit Treasure Inner Hall. That was an immense white jade platform, and this time's dragon gathering would start here. Su Xing, who was acting as this time's seller, had been invited to the backstage area to witness the auction's course of events. The Clear Void Taoist's promotion was truly amazing. Vast quantities of star cultivators walked in lines, and a single inner hall contained many thousands of people. Their cultivations were all at least at the nebula late stage, and among them were even many galaxy stage cultivators with even several supercluster Taoists. That lineup made Su Xing utterly speechless. Just with the admission fee, the Clear Void Taoists already earned a lot, and adding the profits after the event, this actually was only a highly profitable business. The several thousand cultivators very quickly crowded to capacity the Spirit Treasure Hall. This time's dragon gathering attracted the attendance of the Azure Dragon Territory's upper 1,000 schools, and no wonder it would be this rumbling. A 7th rank ancient demon beast roaming about in the Azure Dragon Territory was very rare. Most often, they were at the Black Turtle Territory, 5, or the Vermilion Bird Territory. These Azure Dragon Territory cultivators probably could not see a 7th rank dragon in their lifetime. The majority of cultivators were all attracted to visit this famous place, treating this as a way to spend a little on the admission ticket to glimpse the world, not even thinking of fighting with the other sections. The most important thing was that this sort of matter of bringing out the ancient demon beast to auction was actually quite uncommon. The Taoist Cool Breeze took it upon himself to be in charge of this time's auction, and it was only he who had this kind of cultivation realm that could repress the more than 1,000 cultivators so indifferently. With a wave of his long sleeves, the platform's white curtain was pulled aside, and a several tens of Zhang Long dragon was awe-inspiringly revealed. The whole audience went into an uproar. A few low cultivation cultivators were all greatly shocked. Even if it was a dead blooming water dragon, that gigantic dragon's imposing figure still preserved an abundance of power. Just what deity could kill the dragon? So this is the ancient demon beast blooming water dragon. It doesn't look that special. What an amazing grandeur. Even in death, it is this terrifying. Pity it doesn't have internal alchemy and a soul. The crowd discussed animatedly, whispered, nitpicking this blooming water dragon. This is a dragon carcass obtained through luck by a fellow. Even if it does not have internal alchemy and a soul, everyone presumably knows the worth of the rest of the materials on this dragon body. Taoist Cool Breeze stroked his long beard, his expression calm. This time's auction seller specially requests for relic blade sand, so the fellow that can bring forth relic blade sand of the highest value will have priority in choosing what part they want from the dragon. Taoist Cool Breeze was an old fox, splitting this dragon into 7 pieces to auction. Dividing it in this way, the profits that were earned would greatly increase. It seems it will be a famous family since shelling out money is not at all inexplicit. Wu Xinjie guessed. Su Xing deeply held the same impression, however, he did not care about maximizing profits. The audience very quickly began to bid. Relic blade sand, 1 liang. A large man in a yellow gown shouted. Only 1 liang, yet you have the nerve to shout. 3 liang of relic blade sand with the addition of 300,000 liang of gold. I want this dragon head. A stooped-over old crone laughed evilly. Ancestor Chill Wind, 6, only 3 liang of relic blade sand isn't enough to give a star general refining her star weapon fur clothes. A lady, 7, wearing a blue palace dress coldly opened her mouth, 5 liang of relic blade sand and 500,000 liang of gold. What use has your rosy clouds mountain, 8, for a dragon? The old crone was resentful. This dragon is affiliated with water. Isn't it useless if Ancestor Chill Wind takes it? The lady from Rosy Clouds Mountain disdained. 6 liang of relic blade sand. Yellow Dragon Mountain, 9, wants to use the dragon head to decorate the stronghold. How about you two fellows not squabble like this? The large man in the yellow gown was discontented. The tiny yellow Dragon Mountain also wants to obtain an ancient demon beast. Take care of inviting disaster upon yourself. The hall resounded continuously with the sounds of bidding. Besides the internal alchemy and soul, the dragon head was the most valuable portion. Regardless of whether it was used to manufacture artifacts, soul weapons, 10, refining material or for magic circles, decorations, and the like, it was extremely useful and versatile. As a result, when the Taoist Cool Breeze said that the highest bidder could take away whatever part they wished, this made those cultivators fly off the handle. The seemingly vague and refined Taoist Cool Breeze was truly shrewd. No wonder he became the Clear Void Treasure Hall's senior shopkeeper. Su Xing monitored those whirlwind prices, bursting with joy. The more intense they were, the better. What made Su Xing click his tongue in amazement was that he did not expect the originally precious relic blade sand to be this plentiful. These schools probably also intentionally stockpiled relic blade sand, waiting for the star duels to intensify in order to make easy money. Ancestor Chill Wind, the Rosy Clouds Fairy and that large man from Yellow Dragon Mountain were the fiercest 3 competitors. The final prices they shouted made the rest of the people all blush in shame endlessly. Contrarily, the 10 great sects all made no movements. A 7th-rank demon beast was far from being enough to attract these large schools. That dragon head was not essential, so they naturally were not that energetic. Just when Ancestor Chill Wind used 10 liang of relic blade sand and 1 million liang of gold to beat out the other 2, an icily arrogant voice suddenly echoed. 20 liang of relic blade sand, 2 million liang of gold. This old man wants this entire dragon. Everyone cried out in surprise, seeing only an old man wearing a blue Taoist robe floating high in the air. His eyes were like thunder and lightning, with a reserved grandeur, dignified and insufferably arrogant. The Blooming Water Sword Sect. Since it is the Blooming Water Dragon, it naturally must return to this sword sect. The old man coldly swept past the bidding individuals, forcing them to bow their heads in a panic. 20 liang of relic blade sand and 2 million liang of gold, and he wants to take away the whole dragon. Then isn't that a big loss? Wu Xinjie thought that this bastard, 11, really could plan. Don't worry, there will be people to settle it. Su Xing calm and unruffled in the midst of this chaos, not at all worried there would be a loss. Ancestor Bailey, 12, how do you do? What wind has made you exit seclusion? The Taoist Cool Breeze smiled as he spoke. This old man came out to move about a bit to help my descendant disciple. 13, This old man heard about the blooming water dragon and came here with the express purpose of seeing it. Don't know who the fellow is that quite killed the dragon dead. This old man really wants to make friends with that one. Ancestor Bailey's voice revealed a biting cold killing intent. The blooming water dragon and this school have a considerable relationship. The Taoist should help this old man with this, and someday, this old man will definitely visit your home to pay his gratitude. Does this not make the Taoist darken his conscience? In the future, who would wish to approach this clear void treasure hall? The Taoist cool breeze lightly smiled, do not bring this matter up any further. The clear void treasure hall has the clear void treasure hall's rules. Ancestor Bailey, if you wish to use 20 liang of relic blade sand to exchange for the head, then this Taoist will not force you. Humph. Ancestor Bailey coldly grunted, 11 liang of relic blade sand, 500,000 liang of gold. This ancestor wants that dragon head. Old crone Chill Wind was somewhat resentful but had no alternative. The three people did not dare to argue with him further, and indeed he could not be argued against. The ancient dragon's head, tooth for an edge, pupil for a pill, brain for a fluid, tongue for a medicine medium, tisk, tsk. Only 11 liang of relic blade sand and you want to take away such a good thing. How about this, Eye of the Palace shall give 12 liang of relic blade sand and a life origin pill, 14, how about it? A ridiculing male voice with hardly any misgivings interrupted Ancestor Bailey's beautiful dream. The one who spoke was a refined, graceful and elegant youth, his lips red and teeth white, an attractive appearance. Su Xing saw his cultivation was only at galaxy early stage. Confronting the supercluster stage Ancestor Bailey with actually hardly any dread, it seemed his background was not insignificant. Li Xianyan, you also wish to argue with this ancestor? Ancestor Bailey was annoyed. My instructor recently wanted to find a dragon's severed head for use to watch the door, and he implores that ancestor be sympathetic. Li Xianyan very respectfully smiled. Ancestor Bailey had not yet replied when another cold voice suddenly sounded out. Since the dragon's severed head is this valuable, then I shall spend 13 liang of relic blade sand as well as a chi dust pill. 16, this time, it was a mischievous girl. Wearing a white muslin and exquisite skirt, with brows like the moon and red lips like cherries, she was very good-looking. The 9 ordeals Taoists, 17, wants to use it as a medicine medium, and my elder sister also wants to use the blooming water dragon head as a bedpan. 18, the other cultivators erupted into a clamor. Things had only just begun, yet the 10 great sects already started to oppose each other with equal harshness, eagerly increasing the price. One was higher than the other, one pressured another. Regardless of whether it was a life origin pill or a chi dust pill, all were extremely precious medicines, able to be exchanged for several million liang of gold at the minimum. There were some cultivators that did not understand, it was only a 7th-rank dragon head, was it worthy of so high a price? A brilliant strategy. Wu Xinjie abruptly said softly. Su Xing asked her why. The woman that just made a bid is one from the Shifting Flower Sword sect. 19, that youth is from the Heavenly River Sword School. Wu Xinjie told a profound story with just a few words. It went without saying that the Heavenly River Sword School and the Blooming Water Sword sect had hostilities. The Shifting Flower Sword sect and the Blooming Water Sword sect were awfully busy constantly fighting over the 3rd rank among the 4 great sword sects. The 2 sword sects both were newly bloomed and meteorically rising schools, so naturally, neither was willing to stand behind the other. As it turned out, either taking this dragon known as Blooming Water to be used as a door guard or as a bedpan, both would change this into a humiliation of the Blooming Water Sword sect. After all, the Blooming Water Dragon was the sword sect's holy beast. That Taoist cool breeze deliberately created this sort of situation so that the price would increase. Su Xing nodded. No wonder that Ancestor Bailey hatefully gnashed his teeth. He actually enjoyed reaping harvest he himself had not sown, not minding that a dragon was selling for a sky-high price. Liang Feishuan, 20, using the dragon's head as a bedpan, the price definitely will not be small. Ancestor Bailey's eyelids jumped. Showing a cold smile, he made a great wave of his hand, shouting, 20 liang of relic blade sand, 5 blooming water cultivating origin pills. 21. If you two can open with an even higher price, then this old man will leave this blooming water dragon to you. Li Xianyan and the shifting flower sword sex female cultivator Liang Feishuan glanced towards each other. Li Xianyan originally raised the price in this way because he wanted to force Ancestor Bailey to use up all of his worth. His objective accomplished, he spoke no further. Liang Feishuan sneered, this immortal will also offer 20 liang of relic blade sand and 5 qi dust pills. Everyone was dumbstruck. Immediately, they were incomparably envious of the dragon's owner. The Taoist would like to ask for the seller's opinion. The Taoist cool breeze smiled. What is there to ask? The blooming water cultivating origin pill can only be used to cultivate the blooming water divine thunder for the purpose of solid cultivation. Giving it to other cultivators is but a waste. The qi dust pill, when absorbed into the body, can greatly promote cultivation. Is there any need to think? Liang Feishuan snorted. The spirit treasure hall was absolutely silent. 22. The fat shopkeeper entered to inquire about Su Xing's opinion. Of course Su Xing chose the blooming water cultivating origin pill without hesitation. He was currently cultivating the blooming water divine thunder. Having this kind of amazing medicine simply was somebody sending a pillow when he was drowsy. Naturally, Su Xing currently was not that interested in the qi dust pill that could help breakthroughs in his cultivation. When the results were issued, Liang Feiyuan went blank, her expression unsightly. That cultivator truly is stupid. Ancestor Bailey showed a satisfied grin, his eyes flashing an awe-inspiring, treacherous light. The Dragon Gathering's first auction sold the high price of 20 liang of relic blade sand and 5 blooming water cultivating origin pills. The rest of the watching scattered star cultivators were intensely envious, thinking that this bastard truly walked away with an unexpected success. Ancestor Bailey threw over 2 small bags to Taoist Cool Breeze, calmly saying, the Taoist Cool Breeze has profited greatly this time. Someday, the Taoist must invite this ancestor to drink a cup of macaque immortal wine. 23. The Taoist Cool Breeze put a smile on his face, swiping away the bags, nodding. That is only natural. Ancestor Bailey is this flattering, I definitely must invite you to drink a cup. Humph. The Taoist Cool Breeze waved his hand, and a white light emitted from the dragon's neck. Along with the dragon's head flying up, Ancestor Bailey rolled it into his sack. Then, the auction was very dull. The dragon's skin, claw, bones, muscle, blood, and even its flesh did not bring about that sort of scene of the intense shouting of prices from just before. After all, this blooming water dragon was only a dragon approaching its end. The other portions simply also were not that large, however, even if it was like this, it was exchanged for lots of relic blade sand, gold, and the like. What made Su Xing not know whether to laugh or cry was final scene of the auction for the dragon's flesh. Seeing a first-rate demon beast sold as if it was pork meat, the cultivators who had attended from before were also unwilling to return empty-handed. One after the other, they used differing amounts of gold to divide the dragon's meat. Legends had it that dragon meat could strengthen the body and build up yang qi, and eating it should not have any sort of ill effects. In any case, it was still an ancient 7th-rank demon beast. They could still boast that they had consumed dragon meat to any people they met after this. After 10 hours, a blooming water dragon had been divided cleanly just like that, not even dregs were left behind. Su Xing felt satisfaction towards this time's auction, for his harvest was considerable. Fellow Zhou, please follow this one beneath you. The fatty shopkeeper opened the door, revealing an envious expression. Su Xing rose, following him out of this room. From inside the spirit treasure hall, Ancestor Bailey watched the stage, exposing a thin, cold smile. Many congratulations to fellow Zhou. The profit of one blooming water dragon was not shallow. The fatty shopkeeper chuckled. That's because the Clear Void Treasure Hall's reputation is good. Su Xing was very modest. The shopkeeper's pupils turned and turned, asking, "There's something that Luo Mao really cannot understand. Why did you refuse the 5 Qi Dust pills and even take the 5 Blooming Water Cultivating Origin pills? This isn't useful at all, right? Has the shopkeeper not realized it?" "What's that?" the shopkeeper asked. The Blooming Water Cultivating Origin pill is the Blooming Water Sword Sect's sole medicine. It does not have a market price. Although it is only useful for cultivating the Blooming Water Divine Thunder, if it were to be sold to a Blooming Water Sword Sect disciple, the price would be far higher than the Qi Dust pill. Su Xing answered, pretending to be crafty. The shopkeeper immediately understood Su Xing's plan. In any case, the Blooming Water Cultivating Origin pill was the Sword Sect's high-quality wonder drug, and only several superbly gifted disciples could ingest it. If it was sold to someone just slightly less talented, then there possibly was a good profit. Admirable, admirable. Fellow Zhou truly sees far ahead. Luo was short-sighted, ha. The shopkeeper praised. Master, wouldn't your taking of the Blooming Water Cultivating Origin pill be somewhat dangerous? Lin Yingmei abruptly opened her mouth to speak. If he deduces this, young master will have some trouble. Yingmei, thinking in this way is not incorrect. At first glance, a city feels odd, however, doing anything has a risk. I could be crushed by a horse while walking on the road. With this sort of rarely seen wonder drug like the Blooming Water Cultivating Origin pill, how could I give it up with such a little, insignificant risk? Su Xing lightly smiled. Insignificant risk? Little sister Yingmei, you do not need to worry about this. Shi Yuan already said before we made that theft, a supercluster ancestral master came to Bian City. Thinking about it, that should be he. Moreover, after our robbery, the 5 Spirits Law Heavenly Book has not been spread at all. Thus, this ancestor Wanli, too, should not be aware yet. The Knowledge Star explained. Of course, an even more important point is that young master ingested the change appearance pill. Even if he knew, it makes no difference. However, now is the time to pay attention to our other matter. What matter? Right now, how do we successfully obtain the auction's relic blade sand, and how to break away from that Taoist cool breeze? Wu Xinjie said resolutely. Taoist cool breeze? Lin Yingmei was blank, not expecting that criticism would suddenly be pointed towards him. Could it be he has the idea of fighting master? At the auction, Yingmei, Xinjie, what are your evaluations of him? Su Xing muttered. Shrewd, cunning, Lin Yingmei said. Sanctimonious. Wu Xinjie giggled, directly saying it. Su Xing nodded. People who are too shrewd are oftentimes the most selfish. This kind of cultivator at an auction that can exploit everything to bring about the greatest benefit is the most terrifying. Xinjie said sanctimonious, which is very apt. If there was a profit of 100%, capitalists would take risks out of desperation. If there was a profit of 200%, capitalists would despise the law. If there was a profit of 300%, then capitalists would trample the entire world. The items sold at an auction were many, and we got 60, 70 liang of relic blade sand. I won't believe that he truly does not have mind of this. Su Xing coldly chuckled. Lin Yingmei did not know what the meaning of the capitalist thing was, but she grasped Su Xing's intent. Su Xing's identity was not known by anyone, so even if he died, he was negligible. With the dragon gathering successful big catch, it was indeed not impossible that that cultivator could move a finger and possess all of the success. But letting a galaxy cultivator sweep away his own reputation for 10 million liang of gold, this simply was slandering the Clear Void Treasure Hall. The gains did not make up for the losses. Should he mistakenly believe the inner alchemy and soul are on young master, then there definitely will be the risk. Wu Xinjie added a word. However, I'm afraid such a shrewd person will not let another person come take the risk for him. Lending someone a knife to kill with? 3. Lin Yingmei went blank. Lin Yingmei was only not fond of any ponderance. As she thought about something, her mind spun and finally guessed the crux, Ancestor Bailey. She saw at the auction that these two shared a friendship that was not shallow. No wonder Wu Xingjie and Su Xing nearly did not think at the time of choosing between the blooming water cultivating origin pill and the qi dust pill. They probably already realized the auction this time would not have this much success, so they might as well not have any misgivings. Lin Yingmei did not fear a galaxy stage cultivator. What she worried more about was her master, but Su Xing was calm and at ease, without the slightest degree of alarm. From what she saw in previous experience, he should have a countermeasure. We've arrived. Shopkeeper Luo opened a sliding door. Su Xing pondered and unexpectedly went in. He also did not fear opening hostilities with the Taoist cool breeze. Cultivators like the Taoist cool breeze that were this sort of shrewd would not be touched by any kind of stains. As long as he was at Clear Void Treasure Hall, then he was absolutely safe. Congratulations, fellow Zhou. This time, there was a big catch. Taoist cool breeze slightly smiled. Thanks to the Taoist's help. Su Xing feigned a polite greeting, assuming a reverent attitude. These are the auction's goods, please take a moment to choose. Taoist cool breeze threw out an astral bag. Su Xing held it on his hand, his divine intent searching it. The Taoist cool breeze shot a glance at Su Xing, still with a relaxed and refined manner. Shopkeeper Luo then began to calculate the profits from this auction. The auction this time total gain in gold is 4 million liang. Violet gold, 30 pieces. Blooming water cultivating origin pill, 5. Relic blade sand, 70 liang. 2 high-grade nebula artifacts, 10 bottles of returned spirit liquid, and more. If you wish to exchange these for gold, the total is approximately 33 million liang. Su Xing went blank. The value completely exceeded his imagination. Gong Kaiwei said this could only be sold for several million liang, but now, this was tens of times greater. Could the price she said be for violet gold? In accordance with the rules, Clear Void Treasure Hall will draw a tenth to take as earnings. If I may ask, will fellow Zhou select a tenth of the goods, or in the case of the total amount of gold, it will be 2/10. Gold. Su Xing said without the slightest hesitation. He hated to part with a tenth of the goods. This treasure hall was truly shady. Only acting as an intermediary for a short bit, and they wanted to draw 6,600,000 liang of gold. Su Xing felt his flesh hurt, but there was no other way. Without this platform, it was impossible for him to sell this much, especially with exchanging for that much relic blade sand. Using that much should be sufficient for refinement. Su Xing then threw out 30 pieces of violet gold, each piece worth 100,000, so the total prices was at 3 million. Additionally, he took out 3,600,000 liang to pay off the remainder. This way, Su Xing had left only 500,000 liang of gold. All of a sudden, he had returned to the pauper class, and he could not help but curse briefly at the capitalist scoundrels. However, Su Xing currently still needed to assume an air of being moved to tears until this farce was over. This one beneath you truly cannot thank you enough. Your servant still has a treasure he wants to sell. Originally, this one beneath you had some worries, and it seems now he can completely be at ease with the Taoist. Fellow Zhou, what manner of speaking is this? For such an insignificant 10 million liang item, how could the Taoist place it in his eyes? Shopkeeper Luo was discontented. The Taoist cool breeze's eyes flashed, his face carrying a slight smile. Fellow Zhou, although you are relieved, the clear void Taoists are just so. Su Xing nodded. Following Su Xing go into the distance using his eyes, Taoist, don't tell me this disgraceful man truly has the internal alchemy and the soul. That is truly a fortune, then. Even if it was the Dragon Palace, ancient demon beast souls are rarely sold. I see it would be better if we directly, do your thing. The Taoist cool breeze stroked his beard. Shopkeeper Luo gave an embarrassed smile, then ran into the room. Not long after, Ancestor Bailey appeared at his side. Cool breeze, where did that youngster run off to? Use sound transmission. 5. The Taoist cool breeze said. There's no need to be this careful, who in the surroundings would dare eavesdrop? Ancestor Bailey's face complexion was annoyed. This ancestor promised descendant disciple to obtain relic blade sand, so don't even think this item truly was sent away. From the start, Ancestor Bailey did not plan to hand over the relic blade sand and the blooming water cultivating origin pills. Only when he surreptitiously used sound transmission to coordinate this with the Taoist cool breeze did he direct this play. Tell me now where he is, and this old man will go slaughter him and take his things. Ancestor Bailey's expression was ruthlessly evil. No need to be so worried. He only just said he's going to get an important item and bring it to auction. This old Taoist believes it should be the internal alchemy, the soul and such. Ha, ha, if we kill him now, we won't get anything. The Taoist cool breeze lightly smiled. Ancestor Bailey frowned, and should that bastard trick you, what then? The Taoist cool breeze laughed aloud, seemingly feeling this was a big joke. This old Taoist already locked divine intent onto him. With his nebula early stage cultivation, how can he run from this Taoist's Mount Five Finger? 6. Ancestor Bailey understood clearly, but he still was not too at ease. The 20 liang of relic blade sand was truly not easily obtained. First, you tell this ancestor his appearance, then this ancestor will help you be careful. And you're still so careful. Taoist cool breeze grinned, divine intent entering Ancestor Bailey's ocean of consciousness. Ancestor Bailey then grasped Su Xing's appearance. His divine intent spread, and a supercluster stage divine intent fully enveloped the area with more than enough room to spare. Very quickly, Ancestor Bailey locked onto Su Xing's presence. Seeing he had not run away, he coldly chuckled, such an ugly man unexpectedly could obtain a dragon. And he even wants to use the relic blade sand to contract a star general. Indeed, this is an imbecile's dream. Ha, ha, so let's be a bit more compassionate, and have him wake from his dream. Taoist cool breeze laughed. Ancestor Bailey greatly relaxed, but don't forget to invite this ancestor for macaque immortal wine. And during these two supercluster great cultivators' banter, in a sudden moment, Taoist cool breeze's expression changed. Not good. His figure turned into an escape light that blinked away. Ancestor Bailey stared blankly. Searching with his divine intent, his expression immediately changed greatly, and he followed closely behind. He disappeared. The Taoist cool breeze and Ancestor Bailey arrived in the blink of an eye at the place the ugly man disappeared. Laying down divine intent, astonishingly, that ugly man's figure was already gone without a trace. The two's faces were dumbstruck. That ugly man unexpectedly disappeared without a trace under the lock of these two great cultivators' divine intents. Cool breeze, are you making fun of this ancestor? Ancestor Bailey gnashed his teeth, his eyes spouting out fire. Vanishing an ugly man just like that was his doing, otherwise, how could a nebulous stage cultivator have this powerful of a method? The Taoist cool breeze's calm look tightened, solemnly saying, Ancestor Bailey, this old Taoist and you have been friends for many years. Do you still not understand this Taoist? A nebula cultivator is so worthy that this old Taoist would fool you? That is indeed difficult to say. Recently, this ancestor is indeed very clear on your methods at the Clear Void Treasure Hall. Ancestor Bailey was livid but eased his tone. He also knew that this undoubtedly was a slap in the face. The Taoist cool breeze's eyes flashed a trace of malice. The two supercluster great cultivators' divine intents rose, frightening the people in a radius of more than 10 li so much that they could not breathe. The Taoist cool breeze knew they could not draw attention, so he changed to a smiling expression, and raised his escape technique and projected his voice. This Taoist sees that ugly man definitely has obtained some fortunate circumstance, possessing some treasure that can conceal his presence. He must be hiding in the vicinity, so you must do your best. What, now, you won't help this ancestor? The Taoist cool breeze lightly smiled, this Taoist only naturally cannot wade in these muddy waters. Cool breeze, then what about this ancestor's relic blade sand? If it was not for his knowing he could not defeat him, Ancestor Bailey would have undertaken a great battle. Whether it be 1 liang of relic blade sand or 1,000,000 liang, this Taoist is not lacking in it. For the sake of our friendship, how about I sell you 900,000 liang? This ancestor does not believe a nebula cultivator can hide in some place. This ancestor will find him even if Bian City must be turned upside down. Ancestor Bailey shouted, his imposing manner like a crashing tide, his supercluster cultivator divine intent just like a wave sweeping everything away. Every person and star cultivator shortly after being touched by the divine intent were seemingly like rats that Buddha grabbed by the tail, their whole bodies trembling, unable to take a single step. When you have changed your plan, come chat again at the treasure hall. That time, there definitely will be a bottle of macaque immortal wine, however, allow this old Taoist to warn you. This is Bian City, be careful of provoking the Emperor of Liang. Having finished leaving behind this speech, the Taoist cool breeze subsequently disappeared. Ancestor Bailey stared. He was quite afraid of the great Liang dynasty's Emperor of Liang, Huizong. His breath drastically curbed, and he still did not dare to relax his divine intent. Where could that ugly man, that utterly hideous face, hide to? Yayang Tea House upper floor. Su Xing just happened to be sitting on the 3rd floor, drinking Mount Wui Great Red Robe tea, too, his lips and teeth fragrant with tea, his expression refreshed and bright, a man free and unfettered. He shot a glance at the ancestor Bailey passing by downstairs. Seeing him fly into a rage, Su Xing secretly felt pleased. The oneness of heaven and man truly was incredible, even if it was a supercluster cultivator, he still could not be sensed. It seemed he had guessed correctly. The Taoist cool breeze and ancestor Bailey colluded together. Fortunately, he deceived the Taoist cool breeze to fight for time to revert from the change appearance pill and use the oneness of heaven and man, otherwise, the moment he left, he would have been locked onto and had a hard time escaping. It's hard to imagine that Liangshan's #1 Taoist is this despicable. Ling Yingmei said coldly. He's stayed at the treasure hall for a long time, it'd be hard to avoid having some of these thoughts. Su Xing said. Drinking tea for a short while, only when Ancestor Bailey left Bian City flustered and exasperated did Su Xing unhurriedly walk out of the tea house. He had no free time for the auction, again returning to the market square to carry out his own agenda. No matter if it was the Taoist cool breeze or Ancestor Bailey, neither would think that the Su Xing who disappeared in front of their eyes would dare return once more. Su Xing prepared to again manufacture some thunder fire bullets. The 20 thunder fire bullets from before let him have a sample of sweet success naturally made him want to avail himself this opportunity to make a few more thunder fire bullets. Walking round the market square, besides buying thunder fire sand, Vajra sand, 3, thorny blue sand, crimson essence sand, 5, all were bought in great quantities. It was just that the price of the latter left Su Xing speechless. A single liang cost tens of thousands. However, he wondered if it was possible to manufacture other bullets. Su Xing found a rather reputable refinement shop. Its boss was a muscular uncle, and his cultivation was at nebula middle stage. After explaining his purpose in coming was to manufacture 100 thunder fire bullets, the middle-aged uncle was startled. 100 thunder fire bullets, fellow, are you thinking clearly? What, do you mean you can't fabricate these? 100 thunder fire bullets is not a problem, 10 days should be about it, but 100 thunder fire bullets is far less convenient than talismans. The middle-aged uncle was very straightforward. 100 thunder fire bullets was, regardless of its uses, still far behind in killing potential compared to a splashing fire talisman. Even with the pearl fire talisman, 6, and the like, the latter could make 100 fireballs, the scale of which probably did not exceed 100,000 liang of gold. 100 thunder fire bullets was greater by 5 times. 7. I'm not good with talismans, so I'm not particularly fond of them. Su Xing smiled. The uncle nodded. While he had seen many star cultivators with eccentric hobbies, he had never seen one that was not proficient with them. The prices, respectively, are 100 liang of gold for a thunder fire bullet. That's 10,000 liang for 100. Seeing as you are refining so many, I'll calculate a discount for you, 9,000 liang. I'll use 2 bottles of qi recovery potion to pay. Su Xing said. All right. The boss nodded, signing a contract to refine thunder fire bullets. Oh, right, boss. Besides thunder fire bullets, do you know if you can manufacture other lead bullets according to the request I just made? Su Xing's thoughts moved, suddenly asking. His counterpart crudely laughed. Why doesn't this guest see what kind of lead bullet he wants produced? The slightly different exploding fire bullet, 8, the slightly better, blood edge projectile, 9, heavenly thunder projectile, 10, soul-piercing bullet, 11, can all be produced by this servant, as well as the dark ice mirror, 12, fabricated from the even better 1,000-year dark ice sand. 13, the Vajra roar, 14, made by the Crimson Mountain Vajra, or the East Wind Cleave, 16, made from Putual violet green sand, 17, this servant, however, is unable to produce these. Only a weapon refinement sect master can do so. What Su Xing had made him speechless. Unexpectedly, how could there be so many varieties of bullets? Seeing that he was very experienced, Su Xing then asked, do you sell this sort of materials here? Since fellow is so interested, I'll send you one. Because weapon refinement was a type of extremely hard work, weapon refinement and metal forging were not at all popular. Seeing Su Xing take an interest, he very generously gifted Su Xing a copy of Ascend a Mountain and Dive for Pearls, 18, a few weapon refinement and metal forging and related materials introduction. Su Xing expressed his gratitude, and sent an additional bottle of qi recovery potion. Fellow is making so many thunder fire bullets, you must travel Yangshan often, these are for self-defense use. This rude one feels this is quite the opportunity for fellow. There's a supreme grade self-defense artifact, I wonder if fellow has an interest. Yes. The boss closed the door, drawing Su Xing to an inner room. The wall of this room was filled completely with every sort of weapon hung upon it. Some were enhanced by powerful talismans, magic circles, and engravings that they could be considered just like artifacts. Weapon refinement masters naturally could manufacture artifacts, and Su Xing expected that this many was actually rare. The middle-aged man grabbed a thin sword down from the wall. The sword blade was extremely exquisite, just like running water. Its upper quarter had more than a dozen gorgeous talisman scripts, and the strange thing was that this thin sword did not have an edge, 19, but spiritual energy overflowed from within the sword. Vaguely turning into a shadow, it was quite out of the ordinary. Su Xing could not help but praise it from the bottom of his heart. Ha, ha. This sword is one that Wu is pleased with himself about. The middle-aged man gently stroked the sword blade, matchlessly proud of himself. This one beneath you is Su Xing. May I ask for senior's name? Call me Wu Tai, 20, and that's it. Senior Wu, why is this sword not sharpened? Su Xing asked. You watch. Wu Tai walked several paces away. He suddenly raised a finger, stimulating magic energy. The thin sword turned into several tens of sword shadows that flew towards Su Xing. Seeing as there was no killing intent, Su Xing did not move, only seeing that sword flying before his eyes immediately transform. The sword shadows diffused, and a black light twinkled in the shadows. Surprisingly, it was as if an array of 10,000 swords had surrounded Su Xing. Su Xing was amazed and felt he had been trapped, unable to move even the slightest bit. Wu Tai recalled it, and those countless sword shadows in the air overlapped and returned to his palm, then turning into an intact, whole appearance. A very strange artifact. Wu Xinjie gasped in surprise. That sword array actually was not very strong, however, this sword's effect made the knowledge star very surprised. This sword cannot kill an enemy. It's as you saw just now. It can seal a star cultivator's actions, so Wu has chosen the sword's name to be Magic Sealing Sword. This artifact's value is not cheap, is it? Su Xing said. Only naturally, this is a supreme-grade nebula artifact. Wu Tai proudly said. Then, he felt embarrassed and said, of course, it does have defects, but if fellow Su were to run into a powerful foe, using the magic sealing sword can at least trap the enemy so that you can fight for a chance to escape. Su Xing nodded, thoroughly in agreement. The magic sealing sword's flaws were indeed very great. First of all, this sword's body quality could not sustain for very long the average star energy, and this was a nebula artifact's failing. Next, once this trapped an opponent, if the other party's divine intent was formidable, that meant the enemy had enough time to erase the magic sealing sword's divine sight and carve their own imprint, turning it for their own use. However, Su Xing still liked this magic sealing sword. In terms of fighting strength, an artifact that could seal the opponent could give rise to many variables. 3 high-grade nebula artifacts, and this magic sealing sword will belong to you, fellow Su, how about it? In addition, a certain Wu will also send a weapon refinement notes, 21, to fellow. I believe it will be extremely helpful as an introduction. Why would you sell me this? Su Xing asked. There is no why. First of all, Wu likes refining weapons and hates being wrong. This sword, should it be found out by others, I'm afraid it will bring trouble. Next, the magic sealing sword has no uses in Wu's hands. This sword suits wayfaring, young, elegant youths like fellow Su Xing. Finally, fellow Su Xing is one of those rare individuals who aroused interest in refining weapons. Perhaps, the one that can refine and add to this magic sealing sword's power, can't say for sure. Wu Tai's, first of all, next, finally, that he said were all simple to understand. Su Xing could also see the magic sealing sword's potential, and as far as whether he could refine and add to its power, who knew what the future held. At present, though, Su Xing had aroused a thread of interest in refining weapons. Thinking about it, there were no disadvantages, so Su Xing agreed, and he just happened to have the 2 high-grade artifacts he received from the auction in addition to an Azure Dragon fan. This Azure Dragon fan is worth more money. Can fellow exchange this with some others? Wu Tai said. He was an expert, unexpectedly taking advantage of Su Xing's convenience. Su Xing did not have much use for the Azure Dragon fan currently. Su Xing replied, if there is surplus money, it would be better for you to help me refine a weapon, how about it? Weapon? N. Su Xing took out Silver Blade, it was time for Silver Blade to advance a rank. 22, this firearm is quite peculiar. Wu Tai smiled, agreeing to do so. Master, refine the Relic Blade sand into Silver Blade. It definitely will be a big help. Wu Xinjie said. Su Xing thought about it, and taking out 1 liang of Relic Blade sand, he slyly sized up Wu Tai. Seeing he did not reveal a greedy appearance, he then said, I'll ask Senior for his help with this liang of Relic Blade sand. Fellow Su Xing, as expected, is a giant among men. Wu's insight was not wrong. For a few days, this weapon refinement shop will close its doors for fellow Su Xing's business. A certain Wu was somewhat excited. Refining Relic Blade sand indeed was something many weapon refinement masters all dreamed of doing. After handing it over, Su Xing then left the weapon refinement shop. Raising his head, he saw that the time of day was already not late. The next performance should be the Pantherhead Lin Chang's turn to appear on stage. The night was cool like water, the bright moon suspended high. Under the deep night, somewhere outside Bian city, in a cave on a barren hill 100 li away, a man and 2 women appeared. The 3 people scouted the surroundings very carefully, very furtively. Unaware individuals may have thought this was an illicit and adulterous affair between 1 dragon and a pair phoenixes. Under the slightly cold moonlight, the 3 people's faces were illuminated. How could it not be Su Xing and his cohorts? Ingmei, is this the place? Su Xing asked. Your servant has troubled master, this place is sufficient. Lin Yingmei replied. Seeing her say as such, Su Xing did not say anything much else. He unrolled a small violet bag. Is this enough relic blade sand? It's enough to refine twice and still have some to spare. Yingmei, have you obtained the other materials? Wu Xinjie asked curiously. Lin Yingmei nodded her head. Next was the time to refine the destined star weapon. Su Xing was rather curious about how star generals refined their weapons. Standing to the side watching Lin Yingmei's every move, he saw Lin Yingmei first draw a crisscrossing pattern on the ground using her star energy. From the initial, simple structures slowly taking shape, it vaguely became something complicated, a beautiful seal. Su Xing always felt this was apparently somewhat familiar. Only when Wu Xinjie reminded him with the majestic star's seal did he recall that this happened to be the symbol of the star crest of he and Lin Yingmei's contract. Each star general possessed an star crest that belonged to them, and only using the star array of an star crest could a star weapon be refined. Approximately several hours after the event, Lin Yingmei finished carving the star crest's outer edge, and then, with a wave of her hand, the Arctic star Serpent spear appeared out of thin air. Under the majestic star's thoughts, it hung above this star crest array's center. Then, Lin Yingmei was silent. From her own astral gemstone shot out two kinds of items that hung in the air, 3 pieces of white, jade-like and snowy crystals, their entire icy bodies pervaded with billowing clouds and mist. When they appeared, the air temperature was abruptly lowered below 0. They were the Arctic cloud ice souls. 2, 3, Lin Yingmei shouted, flicking her 10 fingers. Star energy violently shot out and wrapped around the Arctic cloud ice souls. The star crest arrays carved patterns orderly linked. Su Xing was somewhat amazed, that design linked line by line to each other and shined, all rushing towards the center point. Finally, its entirety glowed, and when the light shone, the star energy on the Arctic cloud ice souls rapidly expanded. The imposing ferocity made Su Xing unable to but somewhat retreat. A ball of transparent flame began to burn on the Arctic star spear, and the blaze was odd. Su Xing originally thought this was fire, but upon closer inspection, it was dissimilar. There were some transparent and flickering starlights, yet it was very similar to burning flames. It seemed that this was starfire. Lin Yingmei moved her 10 fingers, and starfire engulfed the Arctic cloud ice souls. Starfire, star crest, and star weapon were seemingly like a fantastical, winding road linked together into a single whole, slowly dissolving the Arctic cloud ice souls among it. That ice soul began to slowly turn into liquid, and at the same time, the Arctic star spear also became indistinctly thick. This refinement was a period that took forever. Taking advantage of the time, Wu Xinjie explained to Su Xing how star weapons were refined. Refining star weapons generally had the 3 steps of essence, qi, spirit. Essence was the star general dissolving her own energy into the weapon, and refining it in star fire for longer times meant that the star energy it could sustain would be even greater. Qi was the star weapon's spirit qi. This was the star weapon's great advancing point. Most of the time that star weapons were refined to upgrade their spirit qi, spirit sand was needed to guarantee that pure and divine were a single whole. Lastly was the star weapon's spirit. If the spiritual power and essence soul were insufficient, promoting a star weapon's every capable aspect like speed, power, durability, sharpness, and even magic power in the end was decided by the refined spirit. In short, this relied on every exceptional material. It was exactly relying on this star general's one and only essence, qi, spirit, weapon refinement technique that star general's star weapons could sweep away everything on Liangshan continent, and no man was unafraid. Su Xing was secretly in awe after hearing this. This star general was terrific as expected, and he could not help but be even more curious about the Liangshan maiden. Each and every star general was excellent and outstanding, would not the Liangshan maiden be even more fearsome? Xinjie is also unaware. The knowledge star shook her head as she replied, her eyes revealing she was slightly at a loss. When we were born at Liangshan continent, all our memories were only of the star duels. Wu Xinjie embarrassedly explained, the reason why many sisters would put their lives on the lines is for the sake of witnessing Liangshan Maiden with their own eyes. Su Xing nodded his head. Seeing the knowledge star not feeling too well, he used his hand to hold her shoulder, consoling her. Wu Xinjie very enjoyably rested herself against Su Xing's chest, gazing steadily at Lin Yingmei, completely concentrated on refining the star weapon. The starfire refinement used 3 consecutive days, and the 3 Arctic star ice souls turned into liquid that fused with the Arctic star spear. Then, Lin Yingmei tapped her fingers, and from within the bag, relic blade sand floated into the air. Lin Yingmei's 10 fingers seemed to have a spirit thread, controlling the relic blade sand by means of some kind of unspeakable rules to slowly arrange it. A white light slowly appeared on the star weapon. The Arctic star spear slowly rotated. Lin Yingmei's fingers rode in the air, a bright string wandered on the spear like a roaming dragon. The relic blade sand also was decreasing and assimilating bit by bit into this thread. Little sister Yingmei is carving the final star engraving. It's about to end soon. Wu Xinjie did not forget to explain as she leaned her head against Su Xing's shoulder. Do you also want to refine your star weapon? Su Xing asked. Approximately 20 liang of relic blade sand had been used, and the 49 liang remaining should be enough for the knowledge star to refine. 5. Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue. The remainder should be enough for little sister Yingmei to refine the second star, so Xinjie won't use it. Xinjie is not a fighting general. Refining my star weapon is not that useful. However, refining it is always somewhat better. Su Xing thought. Young master, let's save this for another time. Wu Xinjie winked, suddenly leaving her master's embrace. Master, in a moment, properly please little sister Yingmei. The knowledge star was very ambiguous. Su Xing did not understand. At this time, the transparent flames burning in the cave finally went out. Lin Yingmei's expression was unbearably exhausted, and Su Xing immediately swiftly advanced, supporting the girl. Lin Yingmei's face was drained of color, and she was very weak. 3 consecutive days had nearly sucked the majestic star's star energy dry. Master. Lin Yingmei said in a low voice, wanting to raise her body, but Su Xing did not care. Don't move, you rest for a bit. Do you want to first enter the star nest? No need. Lin Yingmei looked at the Arctic star spear in the middle of the array, a white glittering that began to flicker. The Arctic star serpent spear was finally 1 star. The long spear disappeared completely, and Lin Yingmei shut her eyes. Su Xing gave her a bottle of return spirit liquid to ingest, and then he touched her astral crest. Lin Yingmei then fled into the star nest to recuperate. You really won't refine? Su Xing asked Wu Xinjie. Wu Xinjie seriously nodded. Very well, then. Let's return first. Su Xing took a deep breath. Cultivating the 5 spirits law, blooming water, divine thunder, rock-piercing water droplets, chaotic tail escape technique, to break through the nebula stage, he needed to go to the divining star platform as soon as possible. The matters he had waiting for him were not few. A mountain range bordering the Azure Dragon territory and the Vermilion Bird territory. Black Rock Mountain, 1000 Machine Gang. A square-faced and grave man walked out. Waiting outside was a man and woman that Su Xing had encountered earlier. It was the Gong Su that ran away and his star general, the Devil Star Giant in the clouds, Song Wan. Spotting that serious-looking man, Gong Su was delighted, hastily going up to greet him. Vice Sect Leader, what did the sect leader say? The 1000 Machine Gang Vice Sect Leader looked at Gong Su, opening his mouth to say, Gong Su, your actions this time have made the sect leader extremely angry. The 1000 Machine Gang's current foundations are not at all stable. We need to slowly again mend the majesty of the Divine Machine Clan, but you went once to the Azure Dragon territory, claiming you've obtained information on the MO attack mechanism records. Only then did sect leader assign Protector Gong Yang to aid you, but, speaking of this, the man sighed deeply. Disciple did not expect to encounter Lin Chong. Gong Su was sad. Was it truly that Lin Chong that legend said refused to sign a contract during the 9th generation star duels? The vice sect leader's whole face was solemn. Gong Su definitively nodded. The MO attack mechanism records have also been taken by the Thief Star. Right now is precisely the best opportunity to kill them. Vice sect leader, you must think clearly, this is the Wu clan strategic town's 6th, grand, good opportunity. Jiar, you speak, too. Song Jia twitched her lips, turning her head. She completely lacked interest in explaining. The vice sect leader glanced at the giant in the clouds, saying to Gong Su, the sect leader still needs several days to exit seclusion. I have already been given full authority to handle this matter. Gong Su. What you said is not wrong, but the sect leader presently had great difficulty to call together 100 disciples. If you go this time, and more than half perishes, have casualties again, the 1,000 machine gang will be in danger. Gong Su, you must understand my meaning. The majestic star panther head Lin Chong actually was a frightful fiend star. 7. This was also the reason he was slow and unwilling to make a firm resolution. With the 1,000 machine gang's current strength, he could not believe it. The thief star Shi Qian already is somewhat aware. Hesitate any longer, and we shall not be able to find the best thief under heaven ever again. If you are afraid, you can find someone to ally with. Song Jia abruptly opened her mouth. The two men stared blankly. There's a good piece of information. The Blooming Water Sword sect lost the Blooming Water Divine Thunder True technique. This boss surmises that it must be the Thief Star's doing, and you only need to join hands with the Blooming Water Sword sect, each taking what it needs, to everyone's delight and satisfaction. As far as the other party's star general after the event, as long as sect leader promptly leaves seclusion, there is no need to be afraid of falling out with the Blooming Water Sword sect. This idea is good. The vice sect leader clapped his hands in praise. With the Blooming Water Sword sect, his confidence was even more sure. No matter how much more powerful that Lin Chong was, it was impossible for one person to deal with the Azure Dragon Territory's 4 Great Sword sect alone, right? Gong Su, I'll hand this matter over to you to handle. I shall notify the sect leader. Gong Su accepts. Gong Su excitedly cupped his fists. The Blooming Water Sword sect main hall suddenly erupted with abrupt anger. The Divine Thunder True technique has been stolen. The Blooming Water Sword sect headmaster, the Taoist Luo River, was included among a group of several dozen cultivators trembling in fear, quaking as they lay prostrate where they were. The ones who could make them terrified and fearful were only the Blooming Water Sword sect's secluded ancestral masters. Ancestor Bailey's expression was cold and detached, somewhat frightful. He had just returned from Bian City, where he had his things stolen by a nebula cultivator that escaped and went missing before his eyes, the depressed air in his throat not yet removed, and hearing this thundering, grievous news upon his return to the school, the Blooming Water Sword sect's guarded secret unexpectedly had been stolen. In a moment, a terrifying pressure nearly made the disciples at the foot of the mountain all collapse. A few clueless protectors and hall masters did not understand why Ancestor Bailey would be so angry. Although the Blooming Water Divine Thunder True technique was an item that was guarded, there were countless excerpts from it. Even if they lost a copy, they still had a backup. How could they know that what Ancestor Bailey was furious over was the immemorial secret treasure, 5 Spirits Law Heavenly Book? Trash, a bunch of trash. A grand 4 Great Sword sect unexpectedly let a robber steal from right over its head. Ancestor Bailey's face was ashen. Does this headmaster want to taste this old man's blooming water refining? Ancestral master, please forgive me. The Taoist Luo River lay prostrate, trembling. Ancestral master, the Taoist cannot be blamed this time. The thief came prepared, first creating a disturbance as a diversion, and then a star master and Lin Chong pinned them down. The headmaster immediately rushed after them, but to no avail, as this thief used some unknown magic that completely eliminated their presence. Not even a footprint was found. Ling Xian promptly plead for leniency, otherwise Ancestor Bailey really would single-handedly slap the Taoist to death. Lin Chong, Ancestor Bailey's expression changed. You said the Star General was Lin Chong? Precisely, the famous panther head Lin Chong. The majestic star's renown shook Liang Shan, and hearing that the thief unexpectedly had her, only then did Ancestor Bailey quell his anger. Sometimes, people would just have such a strangely comforted psychology. Hearing that the opponent had much cause to wreak havoc was seemingly a matter of course, and Ancestor Bailey abruptly recalled the final thing that Ling Xian said. His body going taut once more, he said, completely eliminated their presence. Give this ancestor every last detail, from start to finish, of how this happened. How was the enemy's cultivation? The Taoist Luo River saw things turn for the better, hurriedly and deferentially explained. That Star Master also used some unknown power. Only nebula early-stage cultivation, yet he completely disappeared. Ancestor Bailey's brow wrinkled tightly. His presence disappeared. Nebula early stage. Blooming water true technique. When he put together each and every one of these terms, he could not help but be alarmed. Could it be that ugly man SFX, Ka? The top-quality jade and stone white chair was crushed to fine powder by Ancestor Bailey. The Taoist Luo River and Ling Xian looked at each other in dismay. What was wrong with the ancestral master? This ancestor at the Bian City Clear Void Treasure Hall encountered a star cultivator just like this. He took a blooming water dragon to auction, exchanging it for this ancestor's 5 blooming water cultivating origin pills. In front of this ancestor's and the Taoist cool breeze's eyes, his presence vanished. Now thinking about it, it ought to be this thief. Ah! Even Ancestral Master had no way to sense him, the entire hall's cultivators were overwhelmed with shock. A nebula cultivator unexpectedly could avoid a supercluster cultivator's divine intent. This was simply shocking. Ancestor Bailey nevertheless was not that certain. The problem was that man actually was a constantly unworthy visitor. This sort of ugly man unexpectedly contracted the majestic star panther head, and Ancestor Bailey truly could not accept this fact. But that did not matter. That person already completely disappeared in such a large Liangshan. Find? How would they go find him? If the stolen blooming water divine thunder true technique was disseminated, the sword sect's prestige would end. Certainly, within the 4 great sword sect rankings, they would rank last. Let alone a 5 Spirits Law heavenly book, the blooming water sword sect would not even dare leak out half this phrase. Otherwise, the blooming water sword sect would pick up countless scheming enemies, something that absolutely must not be done. Wishing to but unable to capture. Wanting to but not daring to yell. Ancestor Wanli truly was sullen to death. Just at this moment, a disciple came to reporting to Ancestral Master and Headmaster. At the bottom of the mountain, there is someone calling himself a 1000 Machine Gang disciple requesting an audience with the Headmaster. 1000 Machine Gang. Never heard of it. Just say the blooming water sword sect has sealed the mountain and will not see visitors. The Taoist Luo River said, annoyed. He says each can take what he needs. That informing disciple hesitated. Everyone's gazes immediately were glued onto him. Could it be this matter has something to do with that whatever 1000 Machine Gang? The Taoist Luo River turned malevolent. Let him enter. Ancestor Bailey said after a short time. A long-haired man wearing bizarre garb walked in. He faced an entire group of blooming water sword sect great cultivators, even a supercluster stage cultivator, and still maintained his calm. Ancestor Bailey could not help but look him over a bit more. This one beneath you is Gong Su, protector of the 1000 Machine Gang, paying respects to the headmaster and senior. Gong Su respectfully saluted. At this moment, from top to bottom, each and every one of the blooming water sword sect had air they could not vent. Seeing a never-before-heard-of sect, their faces were indifferent, it completely lacked a large school's elegance. Gong Su did not mind. What do you mean when you say each takes what he needs? The Taoist Luo River opened his mouth to ask. Your Honor's sect, too, recently certainly has been visited by a thief, right? This servant knows who that thief is. Gong Su replied calmly. The hall was startled. The Blooming Water Sword sect had never mentioned this matter to the outside. How could this man know? Was it you who put someone up to this? Ling Xian said. Of course not. If this servant truly arranged for somebody, how could he stupidly walk into a trap? Gong Su replied. State your purpose. Ancestor Bailey stared, coldly opening his mouth. Gong Su bowed, saying, that thief a little while ago took the opportunity to steal this one's sect's guarded secret during the time the sect leader was in seclusion. This servant tracked and investigated for several months before finally finding that thief's whereabouts and became aware of the matter of Your Honor's sect. Who was it? The thief's star, flea on a drum Shi Qian. Gong Su replied. Everyone present was shaken. You speak of the thief star Shi Qian? The Taoist Luo River asked, disbelieving. On second thoughts, only Maiden Mountain's #1 thief could have this class of a heavenly method, but Shi Qian stole the Blooming Water Divine Thunder True technique to do what? Surprisingly, it's that thief star. No wonder she could break the evil smiting array. Right, if she wanted to steal it, then it really is not easy to protect. Everyone discussed spiritedly. The thief star's reputation in Liangshan continent was also known to everybody. This best thief under heaven could even give people a bigger headache than some of the Heavenly Star's generals could. Bailey's imposing manner pushed down, making the hall restore its silence, saying, continue speaking. Gong Su bowed his head, briefly telling about his business. His meaning more or less was, the 1,000 Machine Gang wants to work together with the Blooming Water Sword sect to reclaim signature techniques. Why not do it yourself? To be quite honest, we do not know how the thief star Shi Qian teamed up with the majestic star. She's stealing Your Honor's sect's signature art is definitely because she was incited by the majestic star's master. This servant already brought people to find Shi Qian, but we simply were not the majestic star's opponent. The sect's casualties were dangerous, and a protector died for this reason under the blade of Lin Chang's master. This servant also only escaped after much difficulty. The feeling from Gong Su saying this were absolutely genuine. The Blooming Water Sword sect believed 70 to 80% of it. After all, at that time, Lin Chong and the rest were seen. That being the case, this man's words could actually explain many things. The thief star appears and disappears unpredictably. How could we ever find her? This servant has certainty in finding Shi Qian. The Taoist Luo River and the rest of the cultivators shifted their gaze onto Ancestor Bailey, awaiting his final decision. This affair suddenly turned for the better, making the Taoist Luo River endlessly excited. Ancestor Bailey was apathetic. He watched Gong Su, flatly saying, do you have any requests? Rejoice, Senior, Gong Su speaks forthrightly. Lin Chang's master also has connections to an additional 3-star generals. I do not dare conceal this from Senior. At that time, the 1,000 Machine Gang wants 2 of the star generals, and requests Senior to help accomplish this. What? For star generals, you say? How can this be possible? That's nonsense. How could one person have 4-star generals? Liar. The Blooming Water Sword sect star cultivators were incessantly stirred up. Ladies and gentlemen, quiet and listen to the ancestral master's command. The Taoist Luo River faked a cough, stopping the hall's noise. If truly each takes what he needs, that majestic star Lin Chong and thief star Shi Qian will belong to this sect, the others will belong to you. How about it? Ancestor Bailey lightly smiled. Many thanks for Senior's assistance. On behalf of the sect leader, Gong Su is endlessly grateful. Gong Su promptly expressed his appreciation. When your sect leader leaves seclusion, this ancestor wishes to meet him. This ancestor wonders what connection the 1,000 Machine Gang has with the Divine Machine Clan. Ancestor Bailey's mood had completely relaxed. The Thousand Machine Gang still hopes for the Blooming Water Sword Sex assistance. Gong Su seized the opportunity. This is easy to manage. As long as we can reclaim our things, heaven and earth as proof, the sun and moon as example, we are each other's friends in trials and tribulations. The Taoist Luo River laughed loudly. Compared to the initial grim and nervous atmosphere, the hall already was incomparably relaxed, as if they already saw clearly how to capture and kill the majestic stars several days later, Grindstone Mountain. Mo Clan Ruins, a young girl sat atop an abandoned flight of stairs flipping through the book in her hands. Her entire body's sexy, black attire clung tightly to her skin that was whiter than snow. Her adorable brows raised from time to time, and sometimes, they creased in gloom. Two massive copper men stood by her side like loyal guardians. She happened to be the thief star flea on a drum. Ever since she left Su Xing, Shi Qian did not know how she returned to this once familiar place. On the basis of its reputation, she felt that researching the Mo attack at the Mo clan ruins would have given her more inspiration, but she was frequently slightly preoccupied. Staring at that falling pitfall trap mechanism, opening the door, the Mobius corridor was a veil that appeared before her like yesterday. Don't let your imagination run wild, he already has 2-star generals. Shi Yuan muttered to herself, damn it. That bastard unexpectedly became sworn brothers and sisters with Suwen, really goddamn it. As she thought this, the thief star suddenly jumped. The Mo attack mechanism records in her hand returned to her astral gemstone, her puppet banners spreading out. The two copper man puppets immediately raised their fists and smashed into the forest. A silhouette suddenly flew out, and he suppressed the puppet's fist with a wave of his hand. Then, with a soft shout, a transparent thunderlight shot out from his palm. It seemed like a waterfall covered the two copper man puppets' bodies. There were dazzling rays of light and a thunderclap of water, and with the sound of a violent crash, the two imposing and terrifying copper man puppets had been instantly blown like straw into a pile of scrap iron. There was not even a trace of resistance. The thief star flea on a drum. Shi Yuan secretly shouted, "This is bad," striking the hand seals for wordless and uncommunicative as she turned and fled. Can you escape past this ancestor's water-parting dragon binding net? That voice like a flood jeered. Go! He pointed, and a white light flew out from his hand, transforming into a dark blue, giant net that closed in on the thief star from above. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.